This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House with Crazy McCormick.
What up, y'all? Crazy McCormick here. Welcome to the Crazy House. For some reason, my on my end, it's a little bit jittery, but hopefully that's not going to be too big of a deal like it was last week. Yeah. I've had a hell of a week. I got to tell you, man, my 2024 keeps on getting better and better and fucking better. And I have to say that I really appreciate everything that's been going on with the year 2024. The reason being is because over the week, if you weren't here at the direct beginning of the show, I might as well add this to you, to this area because I popped this up. Here, hold on a second.
This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House with Crazy McCormick.
And to be totally honest, like, I'm surprised that I actually timed it correctly to double click on VLC and it just blended right into the intro and everything. And I thought that that was great. So where did I get that from specifically was, it's been an event that I have been heavily anticipating for the last, like, I want to say since fucking February has been, how long I've been anticipating going to, this year's Grand Rapids Comic Con. And so, like, last Friday, like, not Friday, last April, I took my daughter to a Comic Con an hour south of here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we were only there for like a day. And so we were very upset with the lack that the con had on one day, and it was on Sunday. So, man, this jitteriness is gonna fucking bother the fucking piss out of me. I need to take a look at my studio just to see if it looks fine on that end, because like I keep on getting like a jittery frame rate is what it looks like on my end, just like last week. And this time I actually did shit okay, but I don't know why. Maybe it's just for the beginning. I don't know. It might have something to do with the fact that I have it so it like I immediately started the stream. But anyways, so my daughter and I go to this Comic Con in Kalamazoo, Michigan back in April, and it was really fucking fresh to see, that and like how it looks and everything. And then we were like, we have to go to the Grand Rapids Comic Con because they were actually advertising that. And the reason being was like there were a bunch of invites for guests that are part of a lot of anime that my daughter watches. And so she was like, I want to go to this just based off of that. And I'm going through the shit, and I ended up seeing Doug Walker and the cast of Nostalgia Critic from Channel Awesome. And I'm like, okay, we're definitely fucking going to this because I have to see Doug Walker. I have to check this out. I have to see this for myself. And so, like, this was one of those things that I really had been anticipating going to the Comic Con. And at that last Comic Con, I actually bought a couple of things, and I thought that it was actually pretty cool seeing how everything looks and how everything is set up and shit. But unfortunately, they didn't have a whole lot going on at that last Comic Con. Like, there were a couple of people that were still left there, and it was like an hour drive. And personally, I'm like, I don't even know if I would want to even go to the Kalamazoo Comic Con if we can only go for one day and we have to travel for an hour. So fuck that shit. Um, but we decided that we were gonna go based off of this, and as time had continued to go on, oh, we'll get into that. We're gonna get into that. Um, but as time went on, they kept adding more and more and more to the list of guests that were going to be at this year's Grand Rapids Comic Con. First and foremost, I have to say that I thought it was cool. They added Carla Perez. If you don't know who Carla Perez is, Carla Perez actually played Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers. Um, so, like, not the stock footage Rita Repulsa, but like the live action. So, like, when Rita Repulsa was actually interacting with the Power Rangers before the stock footage kicked in, that was Carla Perez. And I was like, I grew up on Power Rangers, and I have to see that. They also added, um, yeah, they do. It's called Astronomic, like for YouTubers. I don't know. Maybe they do. I know that they have TwitchCon, which is for the for Twitch streamers. I was gonna say there is Astronomicon, which is primarily a Juggalo esque fucking thing. Um, I'm not gonna go to it, but it is what it is. But anyways, so they added Carla Perez to the list, and they added the voice of Invader Zim. They added the Critical Drinker, who is also on YouTube. Uh, in addition to that, they also added Rhino from the WWE because he's got his own wrestling promotion going on in Michigan. And they added, and this I thought was dope, they added Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy in the Nightmare on Elm Street series in the first one, the third one, and played herself in the meta movie Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And last but not least, the one named oh yeah, actually not last but not least, second to last but not least, they added Chekhov from Star Trek the original series. And last but not least, of all the names that I recognize, they added Danny Trejo from Machete. And I gotta say, Danny Trejo being on there, being on the list was the ultimate draw. Because like when Danny Trejo was doing autographs and such, there was a line, a huge fucking line. So I went all 3 days to Grand Rapids Comic Con, and that's what this part of the show is about. Now, when I went to the last con in Kalamazoo, when I went to the Kalamazoo con, I only went for 1 day. We were only there for a couple of hours, and unfortunately, it was me and my daughter, and my daughter was broke and she didn't buy anything, but I bought a couple of video games and stuff like that. Now, at this Comic Con, I got a little out of control. So I came across, I mean, there were a couple of vendors that were there that were just selling video games and nothing but I have to say that my favorite one was stationed in Chicago, and they came up, and I have to admit that almost everything I bought from there was overpriced, and I went there twice. I went there on the first day, and that was the first thing that I did. I ended up, oh shit, there were some other things that I fucking forgot that I bought that I have to grab. So give me a sec, because I'm showing all my shit off. But I put some stuff away, but I gotta grab that real quick. So give me a sec, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, to continue along with Don Chaos saying Rhino is an underrated wrestler, I agree. Um, but I'll get more onto Rhino later. Danny Trejo, I heard, is a nice guy, is the nicest guy, and that may be true. But I definitely got to say, with my experience with the con, first and foremost, wanted to do some shopping, and I ended up coming across, because I was like, the one thing that my daughter and I learned about our first comic convention is bring money. And believe me when I say I indulged, as I showed you a whole bunch of stuff. So the first day that I go, the first thing I do is I just walk around and I'm looking at shops and stuff, and there was some pretty cool shit. I mean, there was a lot more that to the Comic Con than I actually thought was going to be, because like this area was a lot bigger than the one that I went to in Kalamazoo. This was at the DeVos Performance Hall, and it's a huge place. So they had a lot of area to uh, set up at, and there was a lot of shit. Like it was like a series of like a variety of different cosplayers. Um, people just walking around dressed up as some of their favorite characters. It's like it's a nerd mecca. There was a lot of spots with like video games, comic books, manga, um movies, action figures, Legos even. There was even a thing that I saw at the Comic Con where they were selling lightsaber handles, and the guys were actually showing off some of the like the durability of the lightsaber, so you could actually have um you could actually have lightsaber battles with these lightsabers. They come in many colors. Some of them you can switch on the fly. So I thought it was really cool. I even saw Mace Windu, speaking of which. But the thing with me being a collector, I collect video games. You guys know this, and I have to show some of this stuff off. So the first day, the very first thing was I went around and I looked around, did some shopping, and I came across practically the best fucking video game store because they had a lot of good shit. And I bought from their rarity setup. Plus, they also had a box that had some rare games in there. Hi, Cuban Mommy. Yes, I am familiar with Abyss. I did watch a little bit of TNA back in the day. So here's some of the games. Here's the games that I ended up getting on the first fucking day. First off, I ended up getting a physical copy of the Three Stooges on regular Nintendo. Like, you never would have thought that there would have been a fucking video game based off of the Three Stooges. And this is actually a game that the Angry Video Game Nerd has reviewed. And basically what it is it's just a lot of odd jobs that the Three Stooges did with their shorts, with their short movies and shit like that. And that's basically the fucking game, is just trying to get rich quick as the Three fucking Stooges. And it's the classic one that everybody knows after Shemp left and Curly ended up coming in. Did I hear any whoop whoops at the con? I didn't hear a whole lot on Friday, but I did hear a whole lot on Saturday. I must have gotten whoop whooped 10 times minimum while I was at the gathering. And I was wearing this exact same jersey the entire time that I was at the con. So I wore it for all 3 days. So the second game that I got was Total Recall, based off of the movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this is one of those games that takes me back because, like, I rented it a couple of times. I could never get past the level that you get in. Like, once you get your ass to Mars, I can't fucking figure out that level whatsoever. Yeah, and dude, there were a lot of non-juggalos that were giving me props for the fucking jersey. I just decided this is my costume. It's meta as fuck. I'm going as a juggalo, you know. So the Three Stooges was priced at $14.99, and Total Recall was priced at $9.99. And I'm telling you the values of these for a specific reason. The next game I ended up getting was Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle. So this one I actually have minimal memories of with a friend of mine that I knew when I was a kid living in Lansing. My mom was a friend with a coworker who had a daughter about my age, and we bonded on playing games like this, Fester's Quest, DuckTales, and this was one of those games that I, like, it's one of those things where just kind of like I bonded with my friend Shelly over this. And unfortunately, I haven't seen her since I was a freshman in high school, and I was kind of hoping that we were going to kiss under the mistletoe because it was like Christmas time the last time I saw her. I haven't ever seen her again. So that one was valued at $19.99. Okay, keep that in mind. So we got a $9.99, a $14.99, and a $19.99. Now here are the big hitters for the video game purchases. And I know that there's going to be a small certain group of ninjas that I've been fucking with, over the last, couple of years. The homies over at the Bartle House, Bash, Flipsy, 482 Graphics, they're going to laugh at this. Battletoads Double Dragon for the regular Nintendo. Because we had to have like some sort of an inside joke involving Battletoads, and now I have Battletoads Double Dragon the Ultimate Team, and this was valued at $100. I also have the original Battletoads. I have all 3 Double Dragon games for the regular Nintendo, and now I have the crossover with both of those. There were a lot of Japanese imports at this store, but I wasn't feeling it at the time. And I did see at a different store like 2 out of the 3 Dragon Ball Z games that they had for the Famicom, but nah. However, this was close to a Japanese import that I did buy. And the reason why I say that is because I did not even know that this existed as an American copy, this last game that I bought. And it's God Bless the Ring Irgis for the PlayStation. So this is basically a fighting game that was made by Squaresoft, and there are certain parameters that you have to do in order to make it so Cloud, Tifa, Sephiroth, Vincent, and Yuffie are playable characters in this game. I've never played this game before. I remember seeing an advertisement for it in Electronic Gaming Monthly back in the day, but I never saw it in stores. I did not, like, to a point where I did not even know that this existed as an American released video game. But now I have it, and eventually I'll play it. Also valued at $100. So we have two video games that are valued at $100, one that was valued at 20, one that was valued at 15, and one that was valued at 10. And the guy that was there gave me an awesome discount. He gave me two of those games for free. Definitely not those two $100 boys. However, the total amount for that right there, he gave it to me for $215 plus tax, which he said added up to somewhere around $220, which is good. I'm glad that the dude hooked me up a deal. But then after that, after I was done with that, I had to go and check out the autograph booths. And so I went and I walked around and I took a look at some of the people who were signing autographs, and I did actually come across Channel Awesome. Now at the time, there were only two people that were sitting there at the booth. It was Heather Reyes and Malcolm Ray. And so, like, if you know your characters from Nostalgia Critic, then you know who those two are. However, like, I guess at the time, Doug Walker and Brad Jones, the Nostalgia Critic and the Cinema Snob, respectively, both of them were doing a panel somewhere, and and Heather told me that they weren't gonna be back for like another hour. And I was like, look, as of right now, I have nothing on my plate, so I'm just going to stand here and wait. So I just sat there and I talked to both of them. And, you know, it's just like any other YouTuber out there, you know, it's just regular fucking people, you know? Yeah, they have like, you know, like doing that type of stuff is their job, but it's like at the end of the day, they're regular people. And I let them know, hey, I'm doing stuff with, you know, I do stuff on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since like 2009. Small town kind of niche subculture market, because I do a lot of stuff for ICP related content, and that perked up Malcolm's ears. And he was like, I've heard of Insane Clown Posse. I've heard him a couple of times. And he's like, but you know, it's like one of those, he's like, it's not my cup of tea, but I do like hip hop. And I was like, I couldn't tell, you know, like just being a smart ass. Like, really, I couldn't tell at all. So, but I ended up telling him, now I explained to him, I was like, see, what I'm waiting on is because ICP and Psychopathic Records, they have so many different medias. You know what I'm saying? There are so many media type things that Psychopathic involves themselves with, that I'm still surprised to this day that it has not come across Doug for him to do a reaction or a review of Big Money Hustlers, and James Rolfe doing a review on either of the Backyard Wrestling games. I mean, like, and I was like, and it would be perfect for them being in this wheelhouse. I mean, if Doug is willing to do a review of The Room, then I don't see why he couldn't do a review of Big Money Hustlers or Big Money Rustlers or Death Racers or something like that, you know? And both Malcolm and Heather were surprised that ICP does more than just music. Because for the most part, it's usually like that's all people really know them as, is doing stuff in hip hop. And so Malcolm actually was explaining to me that he has a new series on Channel Awesome, which yeah, I'm plugging somebody that's actually higher up the ranks than I am, but just because from, from YouTuber to YouTuber, it's like that business wise camaraderie is how I would look at this. And so the way I see it, it's like, okay, he's got a new series on Channel Awesome called Diamond in the Rough, where he talks about movies that most people would consider to be shitty. However, he watches them and tries to find the good in what could be considered a shitty movie. And I was like, see, that's actually a pretty smart idea. That would be dope as fuck to see something like that. He's like, well, I've already got a couple episodes out on the channel, so, check them out when you can. I was like, definitely. Um, and he actually said that he actually put Big Money Hustlers on the list of movies that he's willing to check out. And I was like, like I look at this movie and The Room and stuff like that, like it's in that same vein where it's like it's so bad it's good. And I was like, even in the Juggalo community, we have a it's so bad it's good kind of thing in hip hop. And it's Danny Kaye. And I had to explain Danny Kaye to Malcolm Ray of Channel Awesome, which I thought was really fun to do because, oh yeah, I'm definitely seeing how bad the choppiness of this is. It's gonna be choppy all fucking night. I shit you not. Why is it so like? Why must you fail me so often? God damn it. Stupid ass fucking shit. I don't understand why it's got to do this. Like the GPU's not even fucking being overloaded, but it's still like even nevertheless, it's still fucking choppy here on my end. But anyways, so and I'm fucking anal when it concerns that type of stuff. So yeah, he does this thing. It's diamond in the rough. He watches the shitty movies and he tries to find the diamond in the rough that makes it good. And like I said, I had to explain Danny Kaye to Malcolm Ray. I was like, Danny Kaye's the first white rapper in Detroit, Michigan. And what makes it funny though is that he's very serious about his craft, but it's like accidentally bad. And it's like so bad that you have no choice but to laugh at how bad it is. But that's the joy behind Danny Kaye is we are having a laugh. Yes, it's kind of at Danny Kaye's expense, but it's like you're definitely going to fucking listen to it. And Danny Kaye was always one of those things where it's like passed on in the Juggalo world where it's just like you've got to hear this. And the same thing in the fucking Detroit hip hop world. In Detroit, it's all about that. Now, eventually, like, eventually Doug and Brad did fucking come back, and I was like, there are certain things that were on the table that they're selling that I am willing to buy. Uh, because like they had a bunch of pictures and stuff, they had some DVDs, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be supporting Channel Awesome in this fashion because I have been such a fan for the longest time. I've watched so many of those reviews and some of them I've watched multiple times. Like, I mean, like if you saw at some point, like I would, make videos where I was in a white shirt and the tie, the fucking, keeping the ball cap, the glasses, the fucking wristbands and shit like that, before I went to full fucking jersey and shit. And I told Doug that because and I told everybody. Like I told Doug, I told Heather, I told Malcolm, I told fucking Brad. I was like when it's like Doug, when it comes to Doug, James Rolfe, and Pat Contry, Pat the NES Punk. These are three media characters that I have enjoyed watching multiple times for multiple years, and the reason because is it's like the review of a lot of the media that we all grew up on. And fucking I started building a character that was like kind of a combination of those three mixed with my own, juggalo-esque stuff. And it really helps out the fact that I am openly accepting of the fact that I'm a nerd. So at some given point, like I was like, all right, I'm still the only one there after 45 minutes of me hanging out with these guys and talking and everything. And everybody at that panel was so nice and so fucking respectful. And I love them for that because they are so humble with their shit. And, you know, obviously Doug Walker and the Nostalgia Critic are two sides of the same coin. You can actually have the capability to separate the character from the real person. And Doug Walker is a sweetheart. I don't At that point I'm like, I don't personally give a shit about um that whole thing that happened with Doug Walker and a lot of the former members of Channel Awesome slash the guy with the glasses, when he was using that production company. Don't give a fuck. But yeah, interestingly enough, like I ended up also getting a selfie as well as some other things. Now this I thought was really cool because this was the picture that I decided on for them to autograph. So as you can see, like down here, we have Heather's autograph. Right up here is Doug Walker, Brad, Malcolm, and this I thought was interesting because if you're a fan of Doug Walker, then you know about his cat Chaplin, right? Doug drew a little paw print right above Chaplin. You can clearly see that, like right above my finger. And I thought that that was actually really fucking cool. So now I have a bunch of other people that I need to have this signed. Um so like Tamara wasn't there, Doug's brother wasn't there, and I was, but like they said that some, one person got sick, a couple of people just couldn't make it, they couldn't get the time to do it, or they had like a pressing engagement or some shit like that. Um but whatever, I guess it is what it is. You know, can't rain all the but at the same time it can't rain all the time. Now I also ended up having a selfie taken, and the selfie is actually on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Most humble fucking people. It's basically me just like, what, I'm hanging out with Channel Awesome, get fucked, you know but on top of that, I also ended up getting a physical copy. God damn this fucking, god damn it, what am this stupid fucking shit. Why? Goddamn fucking shit. Why must you fail me so often? All right. There we go. Hopefully that fixes. But I also have myself now a physical copy of To Boldly Flee. So if you don't know about this movie is actually a 3.5 hour long film that has a bunch of the characters from the I think they called it the Reviewniverse. So like on that guy with the glasses.com, it wasn't just the Nostalgia Critic. You also had Nostalgia Chick, Linkara, Juario, um, Brad Jones, who was the cinema snob. And it's like this whole epic fucking movie, and it's like 3.5 hours long. Like, I believe that this at the time was supposed to be pretty much the Nostalgia Critics magnum opus. And I've seen it on YouTube a couple of times, but now I have the full on fuck, and it's, and also at some point, like towards the end of the movie, it ends up going pretty fucking meta, where it's like the nostalgia critic is actually having a conversation with Doug Walker. Because Doug Walker, obviously, he's like the creator of the character and shit, and the nostalgia critic's like kind of having an identity crisis of some sort. And he's just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, you know? Which obviously is not the case, because like he took some time off and then he fucking came back. So basically, this movie is like him trying to kill off the fucking character, and then he ends up coming back anyways to continue on, because it's like it's the nostalgia critic, why the fuck not? But now I have it on DVD, and on top of that, it has bloopers, it has some deleted scenes and shit. And I ended up having a very extensive conversation with Brad about To Boldly Flee and some of the other stuff that even he has done. And he ended up telling me, and this was a shock to me, they had 9 days to shoot this, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. 9 days to shoot this movie, and it's a 3.5 hour runtime. Are you like, man? I have to say, everybody in the fucking Reviewniverse is fucking insane. So this is the third movie of a trilogy. And another one that I need to get is a physical. I'd like to try to see if I can find a physical copy of Kick-Assia. Because Kick-Assia also has a guest appearance of James Rolfe. And I'm pretty sure that, you can also take a look at some other shit, and you can find like the entire series of NC versus AVGN, the movie. And it's like an hour and a half of all the collected clips between the nostalgia critic and the angry video game nerd, with the whole fake beef and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, unfortunately I missed my opportune window to let him know that myself and another YouTuber back in 2012 ended up having a fake beef, not even knowing that there was a fake beef that went on between the nostalgia critic and the angry video game nerd. But in our world, in the Juggalo world, I would have to say that that was probably on an epic level that you could compare to NC versus AVGN, if you were around. Now, another one that I ended up picking up is this DVD. This is called The Guy with the Glasses Secret DVD. That's literally what it's called. And on the back, all it says is for only for the most awesome people in the world. Shh. So I asked about what this was, and I guess Heather ended up saying that this was during the time that they were doing, that their production company, the Guy with the Glasses, was doing shit. And this was like a secret giveaway to the most hardcore members at the time. And they overproduced the number of DVD copies. And so eventually Doug was like, you know what? I've got all these DVDs. I need to open up some space. Fuck it. Here we go. We're going to sell these motherfuckers. And now I have a copy of it, which I thought was really cool. Then after that, I ended up taking my selfie, and I went along my merry way. And I took, I whip out my phone, I take a look at what time it is. What's coming up is a fucking Q&A with Rhino. I couldn't miss that. So I sat in the, on the way there, there was actually a vendor that was giving away free Red Bulls. And that motherfucker was speaking my language. So I grabbed 2 Red Bulls, I opened up one, I put one in my back pocket, and I went and fucking watched the Q&A with Rhino. It was actually pretty cool. A vast majority of it was him talking about his his come up in the indies before he got signed to ECW. A little bit of stuff that he was talking about his time with WWE and with TNA. And now he's doing his own wrestling promotion here in Michigan, basically stationed in Monroe County, just south of Detroit. But he said that he was going to try to do bookings in Grand Rapids, Holland, Michigan, Kalamazoo, and the surrounding areas, which dope shit. I'm happy to know that that's going to be a thing. Because if there's some bookings around, I might, and I have the time, I might check that out. But he said that it happens on Thursdays. And the reason being is because like he doesn't book Tuesdays because I think he's still signed to a Legends contract. I think he's still signed to a Legends contract with WWE. But he also ended up having people ask him questions about, he's like, anything is on the table. And I was tempted to go up on there wearing this and asking him questions about whether or not he would be willing to try to do possible cross promotion. Because I think that it would be cool for him to get a cross promotion deal, possibly with JCW. But I missed the opportunity. I missed the window. Uh, I don't really like asking questions in front of a giant room like that. Like for me, it's just like, I don't need everybody to know. I just want to know for myself, you know? But after that, I ended up, I think after that, it was like getting dark and I ended up going home. Um, I had to go home. I had to pick up my daughter from work because she was sick. And then after that, I came home and I streamed on Twitch because I was playing Sonic Origins and I had to beat that. So finish that up, and then we move on to the next day. I go and I think the first thing that I had on my itinerary was to watch the Heather Langenkamp Q&A. And so I fucking did that. But like when I got to the location, actually, um, before I did the Heather Langenkamp thing, I ended up bumping into the coworker homie of mine, Ellington, who I had talked about before. Dude fucking pushes a broom. Really cool dude, by the way. And it was funny because like the last time I shouted him out, he ended up saying, "You made me sound like an old guy that is just pushing a broom around the factory." And I was like, that's not how I fucking envisioned it when I mentioned it. I was just thinking about what you do. And I was just like, what am I going to say? You're a fucking janitor? All right, fine. So Ellington, the fucking janitor, and he also does indie wrestling in his spare time. He's also a video game collector. Um, he saw me right at the fucking door. And so I was like, dude, I got to show you this video game store that I fucking found. This video game vendor. He buys his ticket. We meet back up, and then I show him the fucking the vendor. He and I start looking around at shit, and I was like, this is where the good stuff is. And there was some other stuff that I came across that I felt like I needed to fucking get. Otherwise, the terrorists win. And so more games end up coming in and being added into my fucking repertoire. And these are actually a bigger fucking pricey lot. And I'm pretty sure that I got a deal off of these, but I'm not 100%. But then again, I don't really give a shit. So remember how I ended up saying that I got Battletoads, Double Dragon. I now have Battletoads, Double Dragon, the first 3 Double Dragons for the regular Nintendo. Well, now I also have Super Double Dragon for the Super Nintendo, and it's priced at $49.98. So that's another one. Knock that off the list. And then since I also saw it, I know it's a pretty shitty game, but Double Dragon 5, where it's Double Dragon, but it's a fucking fighting game. It's like with the popularity of Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat, and now Trade West is like, we need to have our own fighting game, and we have Double Dragon as a franchise, so why the fuck not? They're like, no, fam, you should have just kept it as a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and you would have been fine. And that one, for as shitty a game as it is, it was marked at $34.99. This next one, and I've never played this, but I definitely am willing to give this a shot. Looney Tunes B-Ball for the Super Nintendo. This one I've actually seen advertised in video game magazines. I think one of the coolest things though is that, you know, Air Jordan, Hair Jordan, you know, so you got Bugs Bunny fucking playing basketball. And so like this one's marked at $79.99. But one of the coolest things is like each cartoon character has like a specific thing that they can do on the field. Like Bugs Bunny has the capability to do cross dressing to distract like Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam. And so that way it makes it so you have an advantage with the other team members to get a, you know, to get a bucket. And this last game was actually one that I have been searching for 25 years. This game has never fucking left my brain since the first day that I fucking played it, because I didn't play it for very long when I rented it from Blockbuster back in the day. But the game in question is called Metal Storm. So this is a very little known game. The game came out in 1990, and I literally have only played it twice now. Played it once when I was a kid, you know, back when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And now here I am at 41, and I have this game, and this game was priced at $200. Yeah, $200. So, yeah, I don't think I actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I got the deal that time around, because I was just like, fuck it, let's go. Now, hanging out with Ellington, I ended up continuing and going around. And while he's looking at video games, I come across somebody that I used to work with at a local haunted house. I caught up with her a little bit, and you know, and we just chewed the fat for a little bit while homie was fucking looking at some games. He bought some games too, but I thought that was cool, bumping into people that I knew. And Saturday, of course, being the day where I'm walking around, people are fucking commenting on the fresh ass jersey that I'm wearing. I'm getting whoop whoops left and right. I think I got whoop whoop by an elf or something like that. Not a single furry whooped at me, but you know, I still got the whoops. And while me and him are still fucking going around, I ended up continuing to fucking walk around and do my thing. And we came across Carla Perez. Now, apparently, he had seen Carla Perez at a previous convention, and I thought that was dope. But while we're there, I'm taking a look at some of the stuff, and I'm having a conversation with her while he's macking on Carla Perez's assistant. And so like I'm talking to her about, you know, how I grew up watching. Nah, furries are all right. You know, furries ain't that big a deal to me. But like I'm talking to Carla Perez about, you know, growing up as a kid, you know, Power Rangers was a part of my childhood. And I told her, you know, I was supposed to bring my kid here, you know, because like they got, you know, I got her into anime and shit, and I was like, now you gotta really get into a lot of the older stuff too. Like I did the same thing with my son with video games, where I was like, you know, I'm glad that you are a fan of video games, but you really got to respect the beginnings of it, you know. So I introduced him to Nintendo and Atari 2600 and shit like that. Didn't even think about whether or not I wanted to bring my fucking copy of Power Rangers to have Carla Perez sign it, because Carla Perez was in Power Rangers the movie, and I have a physical copy of that for the Sega Genesis. Would have been dope though. However, I ended up getting myself an autograph nevertheless, because she was selling Funko Pops of Rita Repulsa. And she actually signed it right there, Carla Perez, Rita, Time to Conquer Earth XOXO. And she and I ended up talking about some other, you know, some other things involving, you know, Japanese culture, whether it be like Astro Boy. I even brought up Super Sentai, the kaiju films and stuff like that. How like, you know, how Japanese culture is kind of like becoming a wild thing here in the States, and I love that about it. And I let her know this was like the first con that I've gone to where I decided I was going to take all 3 days, because, you know, the one day at a con an hour away is not going to fucking do me justice. So I had to make sure that I was going to enjoy, figure out a way on how to enjoy a con that's in my hometown. And I told her flat out, like, Channel Awesome was the main reason why I wanted to go, but more and more and more people that were cool as fuck were being added onto the list. So, I was like, the more people that were added on, whether it be, um, the Critical Drinker, Rhino, Heather Langenkamp, Channel Awesome, Danny Trejo, Rita Repulsa, like all of these things being added on, the more things were added on, the fresher it was going to be. And I was like, my experience here so far, and I've only been here for like a day and a half, but my experience at Comic Con so far has been phenomenal. Well, more phenomenal. And she giggled at that shit, and she was like, I see what you did there. That's good wordplay. Which I thought was really great. I made Rita Repulsa giggle. Now after that, I ended up fucking doing some other, like I was like, I gotta go. I want to check out this Heather Langenkamp Q&A. And so I go to the Heather Langenkamp Q&A. She's talking about her history as as an actor and where she got in. Yeah, dude, Carla Perez was really nice. Like everybody that I came across was very nice, very humble. They really respect their fucking fans and everything. And some of them, like Rhino and even Heather Langenkamp, did not know what to expect when having panels and autograph booths for their Comic Cons. Heather actually ended up explaining after she, how she got introduced into acting and stuff. She's always been a fan of acting. Um, and she actually talked about her experience with Wes Craven and Robert Englund when they did the first Nightmare movie. Like I'm a pretty big fan of Wes Craven, but what I did not know is that he had a very strict uh childhood upbringing where they didn't have television. So he never watched TV, he never watched movies. He even though he went to public school, he always had to go to school every day with a fucking Bible. It was very strict. And it's interesting for somebody who has no knowledge whatsoever about television and movies and stuff to go to college and learn fucking movie producing and stuff like that. And with Heather, like she ended up saying like Nightmare being like the first major movie that she had ever done. So she wanted to do whatever she could to make sure that Wes stayed happy. And after a while, Wes was like not really talkative the entire time that they were doing fucking movies, is what she said, that they were shooting Nightmare. But as time went on, he started to warm up to Heather and the rest of the cast and crew and shit like that. So basically saying Wes Craven was a very laid back dude and very shy. But then talking about doing Nightmare 3, at first she said that I guess she really wasn't happy with the fact that they killed off Nancy in the third movie. But I think that it was like, Wes Craven ended up having like he didn't have control over more than half of the fucking Nightmare series. So he had no control over Nightmare 2, 4, 5, and Freddy's Dead. But when he had full control over the first Nightmare movie, the third Nightmare movie, and New Nightmare, the meta, um, that's when you could really tell Wes Craven had some control. If you know Wes Craven's writing style and stuff like that. And, even though by this time, like, Freddy Krueger in the third movie is like a little bit more campy, one-liners, very funny and inventive also with the way that he kills his victims. So, because everybody knows like in the third movie, the one-liner that was actually the only ad lib that Robert Englund ever fucking did in a Freddy movie, which was Welcome to Prime Time, bitch, and then killed the blonde chick. But like moving forward, like now we're in the present and shit, and she's like going to these cons. Like she said, she really didn't know what to expect with the comic convention, comic cons. And this I thought was hilarious because somebody actually brought this up in a Q&A, um when they started asking the audience questions and shit. And so she like somebody ended up asking about this fucking documentary about her experience and stuff. Like I think the documentary was called I Am Nancy, and they brought up the fact that in one of the shoots that was in the fucking documentary about Heather Langenkamp was like her first experience at Comic-Con. And somebody brought up, like, if you're a collector, you're about to fucking cringe at the soul with what I'm about to tell you. So what ends up happening is somebody brings an action figure of Nancy Thompson from the first Nightmare on Elm Street series, still sealed in its box, in its casing and everything, for her to sign. She ripped open the motherfucker and signed the action figure, not knowing that that's not what you're supposed to do. Because by tearing open the fucking by tearing open the thing, you just decreased the value of the fucking action figure. It just touched oxygen, and so therefore the value of it went down. And the guy ended up saying, like, I know that you didn't know at the time, but as a collector, I look at that and I'm like, fuck, no, no. Like it hurts my soul. And I don't collect like that. Like, you can obviously see, like, I don't collect most complete in box shit. Like, when it concerns video game cartridges, like, I just get them like that. But, when it concerns like disc-based games, those I have to have complete in box. You have to chalk it up, Justin. You actually, all you can really do is just chalk it up to naivete. She didn't know. She didn't know that people collected shit like that. So she opened the fucker up and autographed the fucking action figure with a Sharpie. And there it was. So I'll say it flat out, like, I completely understand both sides of the fucking argument. It hurts my soul as a collector knowing that that's how you collect action figures, is making sure that they stay in the package and having the package be autographed rather than the character itself. But she didn't know because she, like I said, it was her first con, and she didn't know what to really expect with autographs and shit. Now, some of the more seasoned veterans now, like obviously Carla Perez, I bought that Funko Pop and it was $20, which, by the way, the Funko Pop also overcharged because the value of the Funko Pop itself is $6 and the autograph was $80. So I spent $100 on a signed Funko Pop of Rita Repulsa. Fuck it. So far, I have spent at this point over $600. I saw that, and I don't remember exactly what I think I spent a good chunk of time outside fucking vaping and talking with other people. I was also on the phone with some of my friends, letting them know, you know, some members of what is so righteously called Hammer Gang. And so I was on the phone kicking it with them, talking to, there was a guy that was dressed up as Seymour Krelborn from Little Shop of Horrors. I talked to him for a little bit. I talked to another guy who brought his kid over, and he and I were talking about ICP shit because he saw the jersey. Then I take a look at my phone and I see that it's time for the Nostalgia Critic Q&A. And so I was late for, about 10 minutes late for that, and I fucking went to that, and I sat there and I chilled, and basically they do their Q&A a little bit different. With Rhino and Heather Langenkamp, they had a couch and a sit down, and they had one person that was that was asking the questions. Which, by the way, I almost forgot. The guy that was the main interviewer for Rhino recognized me the next day, like, because Rhino was on Friday and then I come in on Saturday, and when I come in through the door, the guy who interviewed Rhino recognized me because of the jersey, because I was wearing this jersey on Friday, and he was wearing a Leonardo Reapers jersey of Kevin Smith fame, if you know about Kevin Smith and his love of the hockey. Leonardo, New Jersey has a team called the Reapers, but I'm not sure if that's like View Askewniverse kind of shit or anything like that. But I thought that was really cool because like I stood out. Like I was, I really stood out with the red jersey and shit. But anyways, yeah. So I go to the Q&A for Channel Awesome, and it's different because they don't have a sit down. They don't have somebody sitting there asking questions. They have people raising their hands like we're in second grade, and they would take turns having, pointing people out and having them ask their questions. And I thought that that was really cool. The very last question, because a lot of people were talking about fucking movies and shit and things of that nature. But the last question that anybody that was given had to be about like the Nostalgia Critic AVGN beef and how all that came about. And so Doug ended up laying down the entire fucking story. And from like he was like, I don't remember who exactly started on what, but like he made a video, like apparently like there, he had heard a lot of people that had been talking about how nostalgic, because like James had been doing AVGN long before YouTube was even a thing. Like I think his first video was like while he was in college in the very early 2000s, and he ended up doing his review of Castlevania 2, and then he ended up doing another video, he ended up doing another video, but he was doing stuff on Screw Attack, and then Nostalgia Critic came out a couple years later with his intro video being about doing a review on the new Transformers movie at the time, the first Transformers movie. And then as he grew, there were more people that were coming out and saying that Nostalgia Critic very much reminded them of AVGN. And so like eventually Nostalgia Critic made a video telling the angry video game nerd to calm his fans down and pull them back. And all he asked for, like all he was expecting James to do is give some sort of response, and that was enough for him to make a follow-up video, and then another video, and then he was like, that whatever this says, there's like some hidden message in this. And so eventually one of them contacted the other and said, it would be really cool if we ended up doing a crossover. And that lasted for a few years, and then eventually it ended with the big epic thing where it was like all the video game nerds getting into fights, getting into a big brawl with all of the movie reviewers, uh, and like some people switching out from the guy with the glasses being like, I'm a gamer first before I'm a movie reviewer, and beating the shit, like things got confusing. Couple of extra spots, like when Nostalgia Critic went to a comic book store that he found out that the angry video game nerd was doing a meet and greet at. And so like he called them out and did the whole my ring's outside with surprisingly though, he didn't mention Captain S, who was a gamer very similar to, because at the time AVGN was only Nintendo. So he was the angry Nintendo nerd. And then you also had Captain S, who was like a playoff of Captain N, but for Sega. You know, he had like the fucking the high school letter jacket, the letter jacket, but had a big S on it. It was blue and yellow, very similar to like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog and the Sega logo and shit like that. And then it had like a big 3-man brawl. But yeah, like, and I thought that was epic that they had this fake beef way before I had my fake beef with another YouTuber. But like after that, he ended up saying, "If it, like we're getting out of here, if you have any questions, we'll be at our booth." So I drop off my stuff at the car and I come back and I beeline it to their booth because I actually did have a question. And the question that I asked to him about was actually the thing about the adpocalypse or Admageddon. You know, everybody called it this. You know, everybody had their own little thing for it, the adpocalypse or Admageddon. And when I said Admageddon, he was like, "Admageddon? You mean the adpocalypse?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, we call it the adpocalypse." And I was like, "It's potato potato. I mean, it's the same thing." But my question about that was just like, was that the reason why you ended up going from doing your clips in your reviews to having the whole team like do the scene reenactments and everything? He was like, "Yeah, we dabbled into the scene reenactments, but then we started getting hit hard, and so like we would try to dispute this shit, and we were trying to get in touch with somebody at YouTube." And I was like, "But let me guess, like all you would really get is like an automated response." He was like, "At the time you'd be lucky if you got an automated response. Like there was nobody answering any questions." And I was like, "And that's when you came out with the where's the fair use movement." He goes, "Yeah, exactly." And I was like, "I remember watching that as it came out." And I gotta tell you, Doug, like from one YouTuber to another, you really changed the game here on YouTube. Now it's actually to a point because I was like, I have one channel where I do live streams, and sometimes I'm able to get away with shit on the stream, but on the other channel, I do music video reviews and reaction videos, and I get hit hard with all the music. And he's like, music is a lot easier for the algorithm to find than the movies, but it's still pretty bad. And I said, yeah. So, like, but because of the where's the fair use movement that you did, it's a lot easier for me to still be able to earn money doing the things that I do. He's like, it's not perfect. I was like, it's not perfect, but it is a vast improvement compared to how things were going in 2017 and 2015. Because now it's like you do the wrong thing, you could possibly get fucking canceled unless you really don't give a shit, you know, because there's always going to be an audience somewhere for everything. And I'm a firm believer of that. However, nevertheless, like the thing about it was like Doug changed the game, and he actually got a letter from YouTube because of the where's the fair use thing that it actually changed things up on YouTube. Because I remember Doug saying that what they should do is they should have it so like if you dispute it, then they have a certain amount of time before it goes back to the full, back to you for your full rights. And in the meantime, any earnings that come in from that goes into a pool, or in this case, escrow. And it's actually because of Doug Walker, amongst a lot of other people, I'm pretty sure. But Doug Walker is one of the primary people because he created a movement with a lot of the YouTubers that keep getting fucked over for being able to take advantage of fair use law. And as a music video reviewer, I get that too. And Big Baby wants his fucking cheddar because what we are doing technically is transformative in nature. However, and at this point he's like starting to notice that there's a line forming. And I was like, there's one last thing I need before I go. And that is, how much is it going to cost for you to do a shout out type vid? And he's like, oh yeah, we do shout outs all the time. I was like, okay, because like I'm not I wasn't sure about like if there's any restrictions or anything like that because of your involvement with Channel Awesome. Like things that you do may or may not possibly get you in trouble. He's like, no, we do these all the time. $40, it goes to charity. All right, bet. And so he's like, what did you want me to say? This.
This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House, Crazy McCormick.
And that's what I got. That $40 for a 5-second clip that I've played 3 times so far. So god damn it. It's going to take me probably somewhere between 5 to 10 months if things continue to roll the way that they're rolling on this channel and my reaction channel. It's probably going to take me somewhere between 5 to 10 months to make that fucking money back. I know, right? I mean, dude, Don, you don't really have a whole lot of room to fucking talk though, because you've got like in your intro for the Hours of Chaos, you have a stream of people that fucking do this shit.
This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House, Crazy McCormick.
But you have it so it's a bunch of fucking juggalo shit. Mine, I was just like, I'm aiming a little bit higher. I wanted to do some YouTuber shit, and boom, I got that. And I thought that was cool, and it was a decent, and I feel like for his level of celebrity, it is actually a pretty decent price. $40, and it goes to charity. He tried telling me what the charity is, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't give a fuck what the charity is. I'm sure that it goes to a good cause because Doug Walker does a lot of charity work, and every video he plugs a charity he has a charity shout out during the end credits of each episode of Nostalgia Critic. So I'm sure that whatever charity he had it going towards, it was for a good cause. And yeah, and $40 was not that bad. And then after that, I fucking went home, and I was gonna stream, but I ended up watching Deadpool and Wolverine for the umpteenth time since it's been out on fucking Disney Plus. Now this morning, I had to pick up my son for visitation. Spent a little bit of time with him, and then I got lunch for him. I fucking came home, and after that, I ended up taking my daughter with me. Finally, took my daughter, and it was honestly for one primary reason, two primary reasons. One, I wanted to show her the vast difference between this comic convention and the last one we went to. And she was really impressed with the amount of things, although she has social anxiety half the time and she just doesn't really know how to people all that well. But I think the second thing that roped her in was the fact that we were going to get matching plushies. Yeah. So I got this little motherfucker, Tony Chopper, dressed up like Luffy, and she has a matching one that's dressed up like Sabo from One Piece. And on top of that, the store that we went to get this, yep, Chopper. That's right. Love you guys, you big bastards. Anyways, yeah, so like the store that they had that had stuff there was a buy two get one free thing on anything in the store. We also took a look at a bunch of other stuff um at different stores and stuff because she wanted to check that shit out. Um but she ended up getting herself a Chopper doll similar to mine. She got the Sabo one, same size, and then she also got herself a figurine of a character from Hunter x Hunter. So like like I spoil her rotten. There was also another store that we found that had packs of 15 Pokemon trading cards. She loves trading cards. Like the Pokemon trading cards, she loves collecting those. And so they had packs of 15 and they were like 10 packs for $20. Fuck it, let's go. And like it was like, I think they said it was like 3 yeah, it was like 3 for it was like 3 packs for 5. 6 packs for 10 or something like that. I don't know. It was like $3 a pack. Uh, $3 a pack, 5 for 10, and 10 for 20. And so we ended up fucking getting 20 we ended up getting 10 packs. And so I spent $20 for her there. Um, Bought her the Chopper doll. Bought her 4 brand new manga books. And then we also had a side quest where we hit up every single store that had Funko Pops, because while I was on the phone with Hammer Gang last night, I was on pricecharting.com trying to see if they actually have, uh, if fucking videos, or not videos, if they actually had Funko Pops that were of Death Note. And there are 4 Death Note based Funko Pops available. 2 of them are L, one is Light Yagami, and another one is Ryuk. So she and I took a side quest to go and hit up every single store that had, every single vendor that had Funko Pops to see if they had anything related to Death Note. Nobody had any Death Note Funko Pops. But that's not going to stop our side quest, because there's always going to be more stores that sell Funko Pops. There's always going to be more cons that we can search. And with my daughter and I, we usually have these big name adventures and stuff like that. However, we ended up saying that if we want to hit up the next con, we have to make sure that we have to start helping her save up to get less fucking save up to get more money, and we're gonna have to take less adventures. But like, unfortunately, with Sunday's usually the slowest at Comic Cons. There was one Q&A that we wanted to check out, but we never did, because we were late for it, because Carla Perez had a Q&A and we missed out on it. Apparently the spot for it was double booked, and Critical Drinker was doing his Q&A, and I could care less about that because I don't watch Critical Drinker. No offense to him, I just don't watch his shit because I didn't know he existed until now. But I also sent her across the panel to show her all of the autograph booths, and as we passed Nostalgia Critic and Channel Awesome's autograph booth, Brad points me out again, and I was like, "Hey, I told you guys I was gonna bring my daughter." And Malcolm, he bows to me. And that's another thing too that reminds me, that was another thing that me and Malcolm actually kind of hit it off with, was he is a huge fan of Dragon Ball. And I told him I got a friend of mine from California who does voice acting for like small time, like, I guess, fandom kind of things for, god damn this camera. Uh Hold on a second. So yeah, I have a friend of mine who lives in California. He does like small time voice acting for like fandom Dragon Ball Z shit. Back in the day, he went by the name GDog559, and he still to this day is doing voice acting and stuff. Basically hooking up his portfolio and doing his thing. G-Dog is a big, like, me and G-Dog used to have a feud back in the day, but we became very close friends over time. We buried the hatchet, and we became pretty good friends. And I actually told him about, I told Malcolm about G-Dog and doing the voice acting thing. And I was like, I don't know if he's like doing it and getting paid for it, or if he's just doing it right now just to build up a portfolio or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure eventually he's gonna make something of it. You never know. Maybe he might be able to do voice acting for characters on Daima when they start doing voice acting. I don't know. But in the fandom things, I did see him doing voice acting of Goku Black, and did it very, very well. Didn't like try to overpower the voice acting like, Vegeta and shit. But eventually, my daughter's social anxiety did kick in. We stopped at a couple of places, and she had debated whether or not she was going to do it, which is a lot better now than it was the first time we went to the con, because the first time she was too nervous to talk to any voice actors for any anime whatsoever. At least this time she considered it, but the anxiety took over and she just wanted to get the fuck out of there. On the way home, she ended up saying that her goal for the next time that we go to a Comic-Con is to get over that social anxiety and actually try to approach these people and possibly get some autographs and shit like that. I was like, you got to remember, these people are just people like us, you know? Yeah, they're celebrities and shit, but like, you can talk to them. She's like, what am I going to say to them? Hi, I've been a big fan of yours since I was like 13. I was like, yeah, they love that shit. Like, they really appreciate that type of stuff. I told her about my conversation that I had with Carla Perez and the conversation that I had with Brad and Doug Walker and Heather and Malcolm and shit. And I was like, these people are just people like us, you know, they really appreciate the fact that we look up to them, you know, and in some cases, like um, inspiration wise, because me as a YouTuber, you know, like I've watched AVGN and I took AV in high school to learn this kind of stuff, to learn about camera work and lighting and, you know, broadcast journalism and things like that. That's why the way I speak is the way I speak when I'm doing the show, because of the way that, you know, the things that I learned in broadcast journalism. I don't think that I have enough fucking talent to be able to do my teacher justice, but then again, she would never want to watch my content because I cuss way too much, and it's usually talking about all sorts of other shit that she has little to zero interest about what it is that that she has interest in, you know what I'm saying? But I thought that it was a really great experience, and I was like, I have to share this with my audience. I did not think that I was going to be talking nonstop about it for an hour and a half, but I'm Crazy McCormick, and I've got a fucking motor mouth. And for some reason, I have to go through every little teeny weeny intricate detail about everything that fucking happened. But nevertheless, I think that it's fresh as fuck. You know, I had a really great experience. I blew almost $1,000, like 3 days, and I blew through nerd shit. You know, blew through $700, $800. It was almost as bad as the fucking gathering. So that was my experience, and we're gonna go ahead and get on to the next thing. We actually have some news this time. Uh, I'm pretty sure to everybody's shock and awe. And I had fun, but I feel like that this was the fucking this right here was the best thing that happened throughout the entire fucking con.
This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House, Crazy McCormick.
You goddamn right, Doug. Anyways, so let's get on to some Juggalo news, because I missed out on Juggalo news last week. Yeah, we are nerds and proud of it. So cause last week was the election results and everything that had happened thus far. And I will tell you this, it was a crazy week that week, and I'm pretty sure that it's crazier in politics this week than it was last week. But we got some Juggalo news. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. So first and foremost, my camera is once again fucking up. I have a feeling it has something to do with my Elgato. But yeah, here's the first thing. I saw this last week, and I thought that this was actually interesting. Ouija Mac is coming out with yet again another fucking album. Like, this motherfucker comes out with a new album like every 4 months. I'm pretty sure that he has a lot of fucking songs that are on back order. But this is the name of the album is Temple of Ash. It's coming out December 13th. And this right here is the track listing. You got the logo right here. I'm surprised that this wasn't right here. I'm surprised that this wasn't the tattoo that Ouija Mac put up on here, because I personally think that that would have been a better tattoo rather than having the Hatchet Man on the fucking crown, you know, on the crown, on the third eye. Because this one, interesting to me. So like it doesn't look like that any of these songs have like a fucking crossover or anything like that. No features is what it's looking like. But some of these names are pretty interesting. Dart Pimpson, like, sticks out to me. Little Jokero, Seven Deadly Symptoms. I'm just bouncing around. Burns on the Skin, Flashback. I'll never understand this for the fucking life of me. Why is it that there are certain words that end with the letter K that he just puts a double C on? You know, like if it's like something something CK, he puts two C's in it. It's something that I'm never gonna fucking understand. Hatchet Samurai, that's another one that seems to pop out. Spligwitter, gee, I wonder what that's a word play off of, you know. Nevertheless, though, this album's coming out December 13th. Fans of Ouija Mac and Chapter 17 alike are probably going to buy this in droves, and I'm pretty sure that you can pre-order this by now. That I'm not sure of. But more news when it concerns Chapter 17. This was another thing that they posted last week that I missed out on, and that is the release date for Juggle Ohio 3. And I actually like this, the way that this is set up, the 3 and everything. This has a very, like Scream 3 or Nightmare on Elm Street 3 kind of feel to it, which I think that's pretty dope. Maybe it's more Halloween 3 or Scream 3 kind of shit. But yep, so next year, Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be on March 28th and 29th at the King of Clubs. I guess for more information, you can check it out on juggleohio.com. Because this is all the information that I was able to bilk off of fucking Fago Lovers. But, you know, if you've already been to one Juggle Ohio, I'm pretty sure you know what to expect, and it's probably going to be a dope two-day show. But I think that this next one is probably going to be the biggest one, and it is Big Ballas was announced officially at Kemba Live in Columbus, Ohio on December 21st. I already took a look at the tickets, and it looks like that they have $45 for general admission, and I'm debating on whether or not I'm actually interested in going. Because especially since I just spent like 800 some odd dollars at fucking Comic-Con. But taking a look at some of the people that are on the list, you've got Mikey Clark, DJ Clay, Ouija Mac, the world's most dangerous stunt show, Shaggy the Airhead. You're going to have live JCW Wrestling, Wacko the Kid, and of course, Insane Clown Posse, hosted by Clownvis. Which, hey, I can't fucking hate, you know? Nobody can fucking hate on that shit. God damn this fucking thing. Am I missing out on certain fucking juggalorgy? Yeah. I mean that is something that could possibly happen, you know, so check your local listings at your local, you know, at a nearby Columbus, Ohio Super 8 motel. You never know, there could be a possibility. So, I mean, like, it's cool. I mean, like, it's interesting. ICP's really been pushing Wacko the Kid lately. So, but like with Wacko fucking selling that new strain of weed, I'm just wondering if that's the new plug of Psychopathic Records. Not necessarily for the H or the ketamine, but definitely for the fucking weed that Wacko the Kid, you know, the airheads and shit that he's been putting out. Now, what's interesting is that they ended up like the rumor was going around since the gathering of the Juggalos, the possibility of the Big Baller holiday party being Ballas on a boat again, for the third time, I think. And well, I guess this confirms it that it's not the case. But nevertheless, though, like I live, you know, like for me personally, Columbus, Ohio is just a fucking 5-hour drive away, and I'm pretty sure I know a place where I can fucking crash, so I don't even need to bother worrying about a goddamn hotel. So, who knows? I might show up. It said it's $45, but like they're going like they're doing their ticket sales through AXS again, like they did with Hollow Wicked, and man, the surcharges on that shit is just absolutely bonkers. For a $45 ticket, the hit on it makes it go up to an extra, you know, it's a total amount of like $62. I love that image of them that makes a fresh shirt, hoodie, and jersey, right? And you never know how, like, I was watching a live stream from Bash, and I guess earlier today before as I was setting up the show, and he was saying that somebody out there, I guess, feels like that they're big enough to sell hoodies for like $250. I mean, that I guess that makes me feel good about having a fucking discount price on the jerseys for 150. But but like the ICP hoodies are usually like $90, and those ones are fucking pristine. But yeah, that's definitely one of those things that fucking uh definitely something to look into. So you never know. I might or might not be able to make it to this. Um, I'm still fucking looking forward to going to possibly going to uh Juggalo weekend if I can get a booth to fucking do my tournament, then I'll definitely be taking the time and the money to go to Juggalo weekend. But Big Ballas is up in the air as of right now. So if I show up, if I do get a ticket, I'll make an announcement of that. And then people can fucking meet up with me at that jaunt. So now that we're out of Juggalo news, I didn't try to look for any fucking hater shit. Instead, I was like, let's talk about some actual fucking news. Like news. Because I had so much fun with the political shit last week. We're gonna bring in some political shit, but we gotta talk about the biggest fucking event that happened over the weekend. And that is the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. So, first off, we gotta talk about the fucking slap heard around the world. Like, let's watch this shit. So I was lucky enough, boom. So I was lucky enough to find a clip that didn't show Mike Tyson at the weigh-in, because Mike Tyson's wearing his Versace underwear, and right as they were announcing his fucking weight, he grabbed his fucking dick, But like, this is him like walking up, after the weigh-in. Jake Paul had already weighed in. Like they're also advertising Taylor Serrano too, which I guess actually saved the pay-per-view. But nevertheless, like we have this where Mike's walking up, Jake Paul down here, he's like doing his little fucking baby crawl thing just to fuck with Mike. And splabow! Mike just slapped him and shit, just bleh. And Jake fucking just took the shit. Like, Jake didn't fucking move. But like after this, like there was the tussle, like people holding Mike back. And nobody needed to do anything with Jake. Like Jake was literally unfazed, and here he is talking shit.
Mike, can I ask? The world is excited to see you one last time, perhaps. Can you just tell us the emotions, the thoughts that are going through your mind right now?
Talking's over.
Why did you push him there? All right, that's it. That's it.
We're done.
He walks away. You just felt his power. What did that feel like, and why did he do that to you?
I didn't even feel it. He's angry. He's an angry little elf. Mike Tyson, I thought that was a cute slap, buddy, but tomorrow you're getting knocked the fuck out. I'm f***ing him up, Burial. I'm f***ing him up. He
Good sell. Good sell with that fucking shit. Like, just screaming he must die. Like, he must have gotten some acting chops from Logan Paul. But then again, you know, Jake Paul being a YouTuber and stuff like that, and the stuff that he fucking created. Now, like, I watched the interview, like, you know, Mike basically just saying talking's over. And it didn't, like, let's take a look at that fucking slap again. You know? Hold on. So, okay, here comes the slap. Like, yeah, he hit him, but, like, it didn't knock him on his ass. And that's the fucked up shit because, like, you know, like, somebody ended up fucking pointing, oh, yeah, like I was going to say, somebody ended up pointing out that during the training videos and shit, like, while Mike was training, he knocked out his fucking trainer. Like, while he was training and shit. Like, how fucked up was that? Now, during the interview, which I did not fucking get downloaded, there was actually a point in time where, like, Mike was fucking being asked questions, and he was so in the fucking zone that he didn't even know that people were asking him questions, which is something that Mike had said something about in the past, where, like, he would continue to fucking box because, you know, after the bell rang, he would continue fucking hitting the motherfucker because, like, he couldn't hear the bell. Which I think now, because of that, like, they have, like, the 10-second ding before the end of the round. Let's see, Mike had health problems in June. He almost died. The fight was going to happen in July. Okay, yeah, because I've been hearing about this fight for a pretty long time, and I did not know that that was the case. But, like, yeah, so, like, that, like, some of the, like, there were two things that popped into my fucking head. Like, Mike throwing the first hit during this weigh-in, and all he said was his talking's over. Like, Mike being very short and sweet to the point about this. When I saw this, the first thing that popped into my head was Jake's in his head. Like, Jake got into Mike Tyson's head. So I thought that was actually interesting because, like, I was like, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. It, you know, like, it, either way, like, if this fight is what I am expecting it to be, Mike Tyson is going to decapitate Jake Paul. And I know I'm not the only YouTuber who has seen Jake Paul and his attitude and Logan Paul at the same time. You know, both Jake Paul and Logan Paul were kind of dicks on YouTube and shit. I honestly have to say this, though. I did not know about Jake Paul's past with alcohol and drug problems and shit before he got into boxing, but apparently him getting into boxing is really what has helped him curb that. So I didn't know about that, and when I heard that, I was like, maybe that might be the reason why Jake Paul and Logan Paul are, were kind of fucking dicks off camera to people and shit, because, like, Logan Paul, I personally think he's very entertaining as a wrestler, and I've seen him now as a champion in the WWE, and he actually respects the legacy of the titles, and that I can give him credit for. That he actually does have earned the respect of the WWE, and it's not like it was in WCW when the World Heavyweight title was just thrust upon fucking what's his face from 1-800 call ATT, David Arquette, thank you. But, like, nevertheless, though, when I saw this, I was like, yeah, Jake Paul is in Mike Tyson's head, and that might not be fucking good. He might just decapitate Jake Paul when given the chance. And then when hearing about the trainer video, which is right here, like, you look at this. Like, take a look at how fast Mike is for 58 years old, and you're seeing him with his fucking speed and his movements with the trainer and everything. look at this shit. Like, look at this. This is insane. And if you remember how Mike was in his fucking prime, bro is a psychotic, vicious killer. You know, like back in his 20s, he was a psychotic, vicious fucking killer. And this just takes me back to how Mike Tyson was back in the day. But like, look at him and how fast he's going, how hard he's hitting. He's still fucking moving. He's still got his shit. Yeah. I mean, this is just insane. Like the baddest, like you see these packages, these training packages, and you're like, the baddest man on the planet is back. And so like you see this type of shit, and then you watch the fight, right? You watch the fight and for one, okay, well, if you were watching it live, then you saw clips, you know, you saw more buffering of the fights, and then you saw bare Mike Tyson ass. And that's about all that you saw. So you had to watch the recap because the fight was so fucking big that it broke Netflix. But you know, like I was in the middle of something else. I think the fight was Friday. I was streaming on Twitch because I was like, I'll watch the recap after I'm done because I've got an open window. I'm going to be able to finish up what I was doing with Sonic Origins, and then I'll watch the fight. But I saw a lot of people that were talking shit about the fight on Facebook and Instagram and a little bit on Twitter. And I was like, okay, I got to see what this is all about. So the first problem that I had with this was, okay, with all of the shit that we saw with Mike Tyson and these and these trainer packages, I want to see more of this. But why is it that the rounds were 2 minutes and there were only 8 rounds? Why the fuck is that happening? Like that upset the fucking shit out of me. I was like, nah, 3 minutes, 15 rounds. Let's go. It's a heavyweight bout. Let's fucking go. You know, he trolled us with his cheats. No, the pigeon, though. Like, the whole thing with the pigeon, that was kind of funny. And anyways, let's see more of the package. Here he is. Fucking...
Exactly. No better cold-blooded killer besides you.
I mean, look at him. He's fucking quick. Like, he's 58 years old, and he's still fucking got it. Like, the man. The baddest man on the planet. Iron Mike. 58 years old. He's still got this shit. Like... Okay, so I think that right there, it's like, it looked like he hit his trainer, but his trainer looked the opposite way, so you could see clearly that he didn't hit him. Oh, okay, maybe he did hit him. Maybe he did hit... No, I don't think he hit him, because you didn't hear shit. But yeah, like Mike doing his fucking thing, but then you gotta hand it to them both. That was a great work they did, better promos than current WWE, and then hugged at the end and went to the bank. Yeah, like I watched that entire fight. First round, you know, the first 3 rounds, Mike was in his fucking groove, but like Jake Paul ended up fucking carrying the fight like the remaining 5 rounds. Now, what's interesting to me is neither one of them knocked the other one down. I found that to be a little bit weird. And then like the 10-second warning on the 8th round, Jake Paul just stops and bows to him, and then they fucking, you know, they dap gloves and they hug and shit like that. And I was a little disappointed with that ending. I didn't really care about the fact that Jake Paul won at first. You know, and that was the one thing that I thought too, was I was like, I was surprised as well to see Jake Paul showing his respect to Mike Tyson, which at the same time it was like, okay, you know, he was a dick during that fucking weigh-in ceremony, and he got fucking he got fucking hit by Mike Tyson. But as I was watching the match, I was like, I was watching the fight and I was thinking to myself, for 58 years old, it really seems like Mike Tyson can still fucking hang. He's still able to hang with somebody half his fucking age. And Jake Paul was actually able to fucking throw hands with the baddest man on the planet. So with the fucking drug and alcohol overcome thing, as well as the fight itself, like I felt like at the time I'll say it really gave me a little bit more respect for Jake Paul, because for the longest time I was like, man, this dude's a piece of shit. And Jake Paul, as well as Logan Paul, both of them had pretty fucking bad names on their to themselves because of the stuff that they would do on fucking YouTube. And I guess, like, in a way it was like, if you're a YouTuber or if you've been on YouTube for, during that time period, yeah, you know what the shit is going on when it concerns the Paul brothers. They're dicks, and you must hate them. Let's see, yeah, and I don't know exactly what the deal was, but when I saw Mike come out, after Logan Paul and Jake Paul came out on the fucking lowrider, and then Mike Tyson just comes out, and he was pretty much by himself. But, like, I noticed right off the rip that he had a fucking knee brace on, so I'm like, that is probably going to be problematic for Mike Tyson, because it was like, what, his left knee? So if he gets hit in the ribs a couple fucking times on his left side, if Jake Paul throws a few good right hooks into his rib cage, he's gonna bruise his ribs or break his ribs, and then he'll have to fucking lean on one side, which is gonna put more pressure on that leg, which is gonna really fuck up his mobility and shit. But like Mike, right off the rip, man, he came out fucking swinging and hitting and shit like that. And like rounds 4 to 8, those last 5 rounds, Jake was really putting in the punches. Mike came off a little fatigued. And then they show the count. Mike only landed 18 punches for 8 fucking rounds. And Jake Paul was beating him in fucking punches landed and punches thrown. So, like, to me, it was like, what the hell is going on here? And on top of that, there were a couple of times that I fucking noticed Mike had the opportunity to throw his fucking dynamite uppercut, and he never did. Like, he missed out on the opportunity. And before I fucking started before I started the live stream, there was something I saw on TikTok where I guess it was leaked that there was some contractual obligations that if Mike Tyson did not fulfill this specific contract, he wasn't going to get any money. And there were also a couple of people that were pissed about the way that the match was. There were people that were pissed about the way Netflix handled the live feed. And personally, like, there are a lot of people who are saying that they feel like Netflix needs to give back some fucking money, to the people who watched the shit live. There needs to be like some sort of a reparation or something like that, or a refund for the next couple of months, because of how shitty they fucking handled it, because it broke fucking, the amount of people who came in to watch this fight. Like, it was fine up until the point when Mike Tyson and Jake Paul started boxing, and then the contractual obligations and shit. There were a couple of people that did upset me because, like, I felt like with this match, not knowing anything about some of the backyard workings with this shit, I didn't know how much money was in the purse. So $60 million, Mike ends up getting 20, Jake Paul gets 40. So there was $60 million in the whole purse. That I didn't know about. And a lot of people were just saying, who gives a fuck about this, that, and the other. Both of them walked away with millions of dollars. And I was like, to me personally, I don't feel like that's an important aspect to the fucking, to the fucking fight. What should be important is the aspect of the art of war and the art of the sport, the legacy of the sport, Mike Tyson's legacy in history, and his love and passion for the sport of boxing. Jake Paul, even though he's like, he's daisy fresh into the sport, because now he's got what, 12 matches under his belt. Mike Tyson has like 50. And to me, it's like, I don't care about who left with how much money. What I wanted was a good match. I wanted something that would, like, even if Mike Tyson lost in a knockout or something like that, I would have expected there to be like some kind of respect given to that. But then I come to find out about this fucking contract where like there was a lot of shit that Mike Tyson was not allowed to do. And if Mike Tyson did any of those things, it would have been breach of contract and he would have left with zero money. So the odds were already stacked against him in this shit. First off, the 2-minute rounds. There was only 8 rounds, and all of these things that were written in the contract where it's like if he did any of these things, he could not fucking leave with any money. And that, to me, was bullshit. A lot of the stuff that I heard about. And I was like, and in hearing some other people that were commentating about this, it was like, well, no fucking wonder why Mike Tyson kept biting his glove. Because he wanted to knock that motherfucker's head off. He had ample opportunity to do it multiple times, and he didn't. And when he started feeling that urge, he just had to bite his fucking glove just to calm himself down. Because if it wasn't the glove, it was going to be his fucking ear or something. But I also ended up coming across this video. Joe Rogan breaks his silence on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. So I don't know what this is. I didn't watch the whole thing, but there's probably
with
something.
The most awaited bout of this year coming to a rather lackluster end with Jake Paul's victory, the boxing industry has given its immediate reaction.
Hey, what did you think of the fight? What did you think of the fight? It was disappointing. Would you like to see it again?
Oh.
Would you like to see it? Would you like to see Mike Tyson fight again in the ring, an exhibition match against Brandon Holyfield?
I always want to see Mike fight.
Right?
Yeah. Is this kind of what you expected?
Like, I personally think that with a lot of the contractual obligations that Mike Tyson had to fulfill, I think it was because Jake Paul was really, really worried about whether or not he was going to get fucking decapitated. But yeah, like, at the end of the day, it was like, like, it was bullshit. The whole thing was bullshit. It reminded me of not Holyfield. It reminded me of fucking Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Like, they had this big, huge fucking build up, and then the shit happened, and then, like, at the end of the match, even though Conor McGregor lost, like, he looked so happy to have been in the situation and was, like, hugging Floyd and all this other shit. I was like, what the fuck?
He didn't get off fast.
What could he done different? Did Jake Paul look a little bit slow to you?
Logan, what do you make of Jake's performance tonight?
Absolutely stupendous.
What do you
Of course you're gonna fucking say that. It's your fucking brother.
think of Mike Tyson?
I love Uncle Mike. He's just such a, I mean, like, that was impressive, no? For a 58-year-old. Hi, how are you?
I agree with that, though. Like,
yeah, he's, like, tough, proud of him. Weathered the storm with a young brute named Jake Paul. I think Jake let him live.
oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Get your brother's dick out of your mouth.
I do. He wants to fight you, bro.
Yeah, he wants to fight you next. What about that?
I think he wants money. I don't think he wants to fight me.
Yeah, he wants to fight
Would
you.
you take the fight?
No.
Why?
I want to live.
Gotta say.
Like, yeah, I think the no answer is answer enough. He's like, because I don't want to die. duh. I'm a professional wrestler. That would take months out of my fucking career to get over a goddamn concussion. You know, that type of shit. It was like, what is this? Like, fucking Brawl for All? I don't think so.
I watched the first 30 seconds.
You did walk out?
And then, yeah, well, I was just with Kate anyway, right. And I watched the back end, and, you know, look, I don't want to, it doesn't, it's no, I never wanted to see it, and when I did watch it, I definitely didn't want to see it. Yeah. But I get it, look, you know what I mean? Just because it's not for me, doesn't mean it's not for other people.
Him getting inside the ring and everything just brought me so much joy to be able to see with my own eyes.
Yeah, like that was another thing too. I think it's just like people my age and, you know, people I think it was just like people all around the world when they find out that Mike Tyson is getting back in the boxing ring. It's like we get a huge wave of nostalgia and shit like that. Now for me, it's because of Mike Tyson's Punch Out and the shit that he did in the WWF, you know, hearing about Mike Tyson and his history in the boxing ring and shit like that. And I think that's what it is. It's just like the nostalgia factor of seeing Mike Tyson with the gloves and the shorts and being in the ring. Didn't matter who he was in the ring with. It wouldn't have mattered. It's fucking Mike Tyson. Yeah, they said there was a lot of fathers and their sons. They were like the fathers like us who got raised on Mike Tyson and showing their sons Mike Tyson. Yeah, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight made me lose faith in boxing. Dude, I lost faith in boxing, like I said, with the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight. I lost a little bit of respect for the sport of boxing when it was Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Because, like, man, I felt like that there was something that fucking happened with that Pacquiao fight. Like, Pacquiao could have... I feel like Pacquiao could have fucking killed him. But, you know, and won the title. But something tells me, like, for the majority of it, like, it's... Like, how is it that professional wrestling is realer than fucking boxing now? You know what I'm saying? The two fights before the main event were dope. Yeah, those two fucking carried the pay-per-view. But I didn't watch them. I just wanted to watch the Tyson fight after just after the live feed was over.
I mean, yeah, of course you want to see Mike Tyson knock somebody out, but he's 58, man, and I'm just happy I got to witness it tonight.
Like I said, honey, Mike Tyson had ample opportunities to fucking decapitate Jake Paul, and he missed out on his opportunity. Like, he missed his windows. And how sluggish people were saying that he was. I think part of it had to do, like people were just like, oh, he's 58. And a lot of people were just like, we didn't watch a boxing match. We just watched Jake Paul beat up a 58-year-old man. I was like, no, I saw a boxing match, but like some of the things that I feel like Mike Tyson could have fucking worked on was, like, at first I was thinking maybe it's his cardio, but maybe then again it was his knee was acting up. At, like, if he didn't get him down in the first 3 rounds, then it was going to just be a downhill slope from there on out with Mike Tyson. Not because of cardio, but just because of his knee. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it might have been his cardio, because he did look a little hefty in the ring.
He's the baddest man on the planet to me still. Okay. Still
right.
The baddest man on the planet.
Do you think Jake took it a little easy on him?
Nah, I think Jake was trying to set him up for the okie doke. He was trying to play. Yeah, he was going down here and then come on to me. He wasn't no taking it easy. Now people keep forgetting that Jake is not that experienced of a boxer, so what all can he actually do?
Ryan Garcia tweeted, no point of that fight.
Right. Let's see. I saw Tyson fighting this demon. He talks about when it went to a break, seeing him scream. Dude, like, if you notice, like, the entire fucking time that he was in that match, like, the entire time he was in the fight, man, he kept biting that fucking glove and shit. Like, Mike looked a little hungry. Like, and he was getting ready to fucking nibble down on some cartilage. Yeah. Yeah, but, like, I agree with Ryan Garcia. No point in that fight. Like, other than the fact that there was a fucking payout for those two guys, there was no fucking point in the fight.
Roy, what did you think? How do you think mine looked in there?
What it was.
Damn.
What about you against Jake? No?
It was what it was, is all he had to say. I honestly, at that point,
KSI took to his
I agree.
Instagram to share his emotions. What a sad watch. The whole thing was sad. Mike Tyson is twice the age of Jake Paul FFS. It was never ever gonna be close. I can't believe that this elderly abuse was even sanctioned. Just disgusting.
I fucking disagree with that one, you know? Like, that to me, like, that, I feel like that right there is disrespectful to Mike Tyson. Because, granted, he's 58, but you just saw that fucking training package that I showed you guys earlier, and Mike was just all over it. You know, like, he was all over his trainer. He was all over the bag. Like, Mike was fast, like, as fit as he's, you know, to me, it looked to me like Mike was as fit as ever. You know, he was still fucking running with the young, you know, like, he still had that fucking stamina. He still had that fucking energy. He still has that fucking power. And you know, like, Mike is as, like, to me, it looked like Mike was as good as he had been in the past. So for KSI to fucking say that shit, oh, he's just like basically just fucking saying Mike is just too old to be doing that shit. Mike still loves that fucking, you know, Mike still loves the fight. You know, there was stuff that Mike wanted to do, but he couldn't, which is why he was biting his gloves. And that's my assumption.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. No. Yeah. Overall, how did you just see how Jake fought and how Mike fought?
Well, you know, you can tell something was wrong with the Tyson leg.
Yeah, the knee.
So he couldn't, his balance was off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. You noticed that. I just talked to his trainer and he told me that exact thing. Yeah. His balance was off.
His balance was off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he ended up getting that 1-2, and he fucking, like, at one point during the fight, he ended up getting a 1-2 to the dome, and he fucking wobbled a little bit. He almost fell off his, you know, he almost lost his balance. But yeah, like, with that knee brace, you could tell definitely that his balance was off. Now, a smart fighter, I personally think what Jake should have done was he should have just gone after the ribs on that side, because then he'd have to lean and put more fucking pressure on that hip, which goes all the way down that leg, and would fuck his knee up some more and make it so it was even more imbalancing. Or if he wanted to just give himself a little bit of challenge, fucking do the same thing but on the opposite leg to even it out for Mike.
Yep. Wow. You know,
but like I said, you know, like, first round in, Mike was like fucking charging Jake Paul.
Overall, like, how do you see Jake growing from this, and who do you want to see him fight against now?
Well, you know, I'm like, he's a pretty good fighter.
Look, man, y'all had to know, like, y'all got to do the math. Like, you know, I get it, man. Mike is
easy 20 mil for the champ. Man, people talking shit on this Instagram live, though. As soon as I saw Mike come out there with that brace on his knee, I knew it was a wrap.
Mike, right? We all want Mike. Hold on, man. Oh, we got time.
Our heroes are aging.
Mike is Mike. Mike's gonna talk the talk. He gonna have a look in his eyes. Gonna make you believe. You know, I'm right there with you on that. But like,
yeah,
man, I hope y'all just enjoy the situation and the fight for what it was.
We all know Tyson could have come out and done his thing. Sad to see the legend go out like that. I love Mike, but that was hard to watch. I don't know where I don't know where to, like, is that the reason why the fight was delayed? Because, like, Tyson had an ulcerated condition. I didn't know that he did. Like, I knew that there was a delay because, like, he fell ill and shit, because, you know, thanks to Don Chaos for telling me about that, because I didn't know about that prior to watching the fight.
The language was, I mean, not the language, but the legs wasn't, you know, all the way there. The legs wasn't all the way there. Reflexes ain't all the way there.
Bull fucking shit. Like, maybe because of the knee, you know, but like, and I will say this, though, when it concerned Mike talking about the fucking leg, because people were pointing out that he came out wearing the fucking knee brace, and he's just like, yeah, my leg is jacked up, but I got to give Mike credit where credit is due, because he ended up saying that was no excuse for him to cancel the fight, you know?
But that's to be expected, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, man.
Mike did good for 58. Nothing but respect for Mike. So, like, the boxing world is kind of like half and half now. It's just like Mike did good, you know, still much respect for Mike Tyson, but like at the same time, it's like, oh, he's fucking, you know, he, you know, but like he's too old, you know, but the other half is just like, it's too old. I mean, yeah, like Mike got paid. That was a given. Mike is gonna get paid no matter what, but at the same time, it's like, who gives a shit? It's the fucking it's the fucking respect of the fucking sport of boxing that I'm more concerned with, you know? And I feel like for boxing to be considered a real sport, there shouldn't be this bullshit contractual obligations and that basically put you know, Jake Paul, you know, that puts it in the favor of Jake Paul. Because at least that's what I was hearing.
Respect Mike for getting in tip-top shape. You know, respect both of them.
Like this comment right here pisses me off. Props to Mike for going the distance. It was 8 2-minute rounds. What distance? What fucking distance is that? Now, if it was 15 3-minute rounds, like it fucking should be, to me at least, 15 fucking rounds, 3-minute rounds, you know, like 15 3-minute rounds. That's a distance. 45 minutes. Like, to me, that should have been the shit. The earlier fights were the real boxing. That main event was a paid appearance. Yeah, and I'm starting to see that shit.
For putting on this kind of event, man, because the event was live, bro. I didn't think they was gonna fill it up. They filled it up. It was probably maybe a few little seats at the top in the nosebleeds that wasn't full, but man, they did that. They did that. You gotta respect that, man.
Gervonta Davis addressed Mike in his tweet by writing, "You will forever be a legend, whether you like it or not, and it will never be another one. And I understand you so well. All this don't mean nothing." Terrence Crawford tweeted,
But yeah, there's like a lot of these people that are fucking talking about this shit. Yeah. I mean, if they actually kept the rules the same, I would agree with going the distance. Yeah, like from what I hear, the chicks that boxed were fucking good. Let's see. Let's see, what does this say? I love Mike Tyson, but they given him this is from Terrence Crawford. Here, I'm gonna rewind this. Hold on.
plans, incessant criticism, lack of her fight by letting him crash. And
yeah, this is all shit.
Mike's gonna talk to what it was, but that's to be expected, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, man,
okay,
respect
hold on.
Mike for getting in tip-top shape. You know, respect both of them for putting on this kind of event. They did.
Understand you so well. All this inches. The whole fight is crazy. I'm just glad he didn't get hurt out there. But whether you like it or not, and it will never be another one. And I understand you so well. All this don't mean nothing.
Okay.
Terrence Crawford tweeted, "I love Mike Tyson, but they giving him too much credit. He looked like trash. To train that long and only throw 97 punches. The whole fight is crazy. I'm just glad he didn't get hurt out there."
See, like, I'll say this, though, when it concerns the fight, because I watched it all the way through. And at first, I was feeling like, you know, like, Mike was just taking the hits from Jake Paul. And I was like thinking to myself, he's just biding his time. I don't think this is a rope-a-dope situation. It's just Mike's in that zone. He don't give a fuck about getting hit. He's just looking for that opening so he can throw that one-hitter quitter. And it never fucking happened. He would have been passing out like Flair if it was 15 rounds. No other 58-year-old in the country could have lasted 16 minutes. No, personally, like, no, I think that should have been a fucking thing. You know, fuck this 2-minute round bullshit. That's not enough. To me, I didn't feel like a 2-minute round was long enough. Like, fuck that shit. You know, like, it didn't stop Rocky Balboa, you know? Rocky Balboa went out there and fucking did his thing. He did 10 3-minute rounds, you know, up against Mason Dixon. And then, like, he fucking, you know, but like he was fucking throwing shit, you know? Even though he was like past his prime in like Rocky IV, you know, he went against the fucking Russian. 15 3-minute rounds, went the distance, kicked his ass. If Kimbo Slice was still alive. I would have. I mean, I would have rather seen Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul with the same rules as the Tyson fights. Seems like he cherry picks his fights. Yeah, I mean, like it makes a little bit more sense if you're a fucking champion. You know, you're gonna fucking handpick the fights. You know, to keep the champion safe, so that way he holds the title for as long as he does. But at the same time, it's like eventually that can only go so long before, you as a performer are 12 rounds is going the distance, not 15, just to be clear. No, fuck that. Make it 15. Change the rules up, make it 15. God damn it. Make it like Rocky, because that was my introduction to fucking boxing. God damn it. Jake Paul must be a diva. Oh, yeah. But anyways, yeah, like, he threw 93 punches. He only landed 18. Personally, I feel like that if it wasn't a setup for Mike Tyson to lose the match, I feel like that he was looking for his fucking opportunity, and not necessarily saying that Jake Paul was good enough to study the tape and know what he needed to do in order to avoid getting the fucking dynamite punch, that one hitter quitter from Mike Tyson. What up, Dustin? My thing was, like, I saw opportunities. Like, if you rewatch them fight, you can see possible opportunities where Mike could have thrown that left uppercut and knocked Jake Paul the fuck out, and never did. And the hardest things was, like, he got that 1-2 and he lost his balance for a quick second. And then there was that 1-2-3 where it's like 2 to the side of his head and 1 in the fucking nose. And to my surprise, Mike didn't fucking get his nose broke.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Logan! He's like, I'm not a boxer, I'm a wrestler.
Tony Billy U tweeted, I don't like this stupid idiot kid, but I will say this. He stopped beating on Mike there and showed him some respect and dignity by letting him survive.
Wow. Like, what? What? Letting him survive. He let Mike survive. If Mike wasn't restricted, I'm pretty sure that he would have died in the ring. Mike could have, in the plenty of times they hugged just to break. Right? I think it would have been funny if, like, at that point, like, there was 10 seconds left, the 10-second alarm went off, and that's when Jake Paul stopped, and Mike could have just been like, pow! And fucking launched him off the mat. Right before the bell rings. It would have been hilarious, but he would have fucking gone home broke.
He didn't go for the KO there. He stepped off him and let him be. Mike, we all adore you, King. You're superhero to all of us from proper fight business.
See, yeah, and what do you mean by proper fight business? No. Like, sorry, but this shouldn't be on some Don King shit. And it's been on some Don King shit since Don King was on some Don King shit. Like, that's one of the things that pissed me off about boxing to begin with.
The bout that was labeled as the greatest fight of this era was anything but exhilarating and failed to meet the expectations because of the evident lack of passion and drive from a worn-out Mike Tyson.
Oh, that was bullshit, because we all saw the fucking training packages when Mike Tyson was knocking the fuck out of that punching bag. And he also almost knocked out his fucking trainer. So you can't tell me that Uncle Mike didn't have that fucking passion and that drive and that demon trying to come out. But he was stopping it because he kept fucking biting his goddamn glove.
Who failed to land a considerable amount of punches, causing Jake Paul to win by a unanimous decision by the judges.
Like, that was a good hit. Like, all of Tyson's best punches on Jake Paul. You got him in the corner, but yeah, like, that was another thing that was weird to me, was like, in the second round, all Mike did was fucking hug him.
Meanwhile, Jake, who remained the victim of incessant criticism and verbal jabs from the public throughout the months, appeared elated at winning this fight and equipped with a newfound confidence in himself. The young fighter divulged his future plans of taking on the next big challenger in the game, who is none other than Gervonta Tank Davis, who a few months back called out Jake for a fight in near future.
Okay, cool. Maybe this'll actually be a better fucking fight than the one with Mike Tyson. Because to me, it just feels like now I'm looking at all of this shit and rewatching the footage and seeing the differences and what people have been saying, and it definitely feels like the whole fight was fucking thrown, and it was just in it to win it for a fucking paycheck on both ends. And that's very fucking disturbing, because like, if Jake Paul wants to call himself the new face of the sport of boxing, then show some fucking respect to the sport of boxing and actually go out there, have a fight, be a fucking killer. That is something that I constantly have been feeling like is completely fucking missing. Too much of this fucking rope-a-dope bullshit, and it's all about the fucking money and all this other shit. It just pisses me off. And I'm like, this is the reason why I feel like boxing is just as fake, if not faker, than professional wrestling. Like, if he wants to do a fake sport, then just jump into fucking professional wrestling. Don't, like, hide behind contractual obligations to make it easier for you to win up against the baddest man on the planet. That to me, like that type of shit proves nothing. And I feel like Mike Tyson, at the end of it all, really could feel that shit. Like, it just wasn't what he wanted it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Not restricting himself from other fighters, Jake even went after Canelo, stating that after the success of this extravagant event, he is now one of the top players of boxing, which upgrades him to the same caliber as Canelo or even greater. So now he would not be the one who will continue on running after the Mexican King in hopes of getting a fight.
Okay, now that would be hilarious. Like, imagine having to, like, coming fresh off the heels of a winning bout against Iron Mike Tyson, right? So now you have a stamp on your name now, and then let's say you end up getting put up there and you get the shit knocked out of you. Don't you think that that's not only going to hurt your legacy, but it's also going to hurt Mike Tyson's legacy, because that's going to prove even further at the very end of it all that the thing with you, between you and Mike Tyson, was kind of a rig.
Over 120 million people on Netflix. We crashed the site. The biggest U.S. boxing gate, $20 million in U.S. history.
Who cares?
And everyone is next on the list. So, you know, I'm not even going to call out specific names, but...
How about Canelo? You said Canelo this week.
Canelo needs me, so I'm not even going to try and call him out, but he knows he wants the payday, so he knows where the money man's at.
See, like, hearing that part of the interview, man, that's fucking hurtful to the sport. To me, at the very least. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who thinks the same thing, because I don't care about the money. I care about the fucking bout. That to me is what's more important. You know, like, rather than it being like, oh, let's give him a good show. No, if I want to see that Seth Rollins is in WWE, you know, I'll fucking watch him.
Along with these post-fight reactions from the fighters and professionals, many prominent figures in the combat industry gave their predictions surrounding this controversial event, including many notable Hall of Fame fighters like Roy Jones Jr., who was also Mike's past opponent during their exhibition bout way back in 2020. According to the statement that Roy issued in countless of his interviews leading to this fight, there was no doubt that Mike was still the same beast that he once was, and that he still had tremendous power along with unprecedented skills in his arsenal.
See, yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like, despite being 58, Mike still has the same speed and power, and we saw that in the fucking package that I showed.
No, I don't fear for Mike and how old he is. Mike's a very rugged guy. You know, when I was in there with Mike, Mike still was hard to hit, and Mike still can hit hard as hell. So, no reason to really fear for Mike. The only thing I fear for Mike is, like, if the fight goes, beyond 4 or 5 rounds, then it could get problematic for Mike because of his age. But if he doesn't go beyond 4 or 5 rounds, he'll be fine. So I think he'll come out, assess the situation.
I mean, Roy Jones Jr. was kind of right. You know, like Mike kind of ran out of gas after round 3.
Roy appeared confident in Mike's abilities to win. One thing he might have overlooked was that he would be able to activate those skills, as that was his biggest downfall in this bout, because regardless of all the boxing IQ, Mike failed to land any solid punches or his iconic jabs.
Yeah, which is very interesting to me, you know. That just seems pretty fucking sucky. That all of that shit, like, he wasn't able to fucking pull like he should have. Because he has more boxing knowledge than Jake Paul. So it's like, how the fuck could Jake... You know, so in my mind, when I found out about the fight coming up, I was like, how the fuck could he lose to Jake Paul? And he only landed 18 punches. He's a stoner and a shroomer now. I don't know how he fights on shrooms. Like, I'm pretty sure he stopped fucking doing drugs, you know, in order to fucking do his shit. But besides, like, shrooms, you know, basically unlock the mind. But still, like, I'm pretty sure that he had to go through a strict regimen and he had to lay off of the weed and the shrooms in order to fucking do what he needed to do.
But still not underestimating Jake as a fighter, Roy gave the young fighter credit for his improvement over the last couple of years by stating that one thing that the fighter had in his power was age and strength, and if he equips them properly and tires Mike out, he will win the fight, which he ended up doing in this case.
He probably could put Jake out at any time, but of course, being 58, 59, how old he is, his timing ain't the same. So it's quicker for him to go get it over with fast than it is to wait a long time, because if Jake get in and get his rhythm, then he can get the momentum and can be problematic for Mike down the line.
And that was something that I did see that they were talking about with the color commentary and the play-by-play during the fight, was they were talking about Mike having a hard time trying to find his rhythm.
But if Mike go out there and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go and go balls to the wall to get over with, still got the power. That's why I say Jake has to get out of the first 3 rounds. Get past the first 3 rounds, he got a chance. But the first 3 rounds are going to be devastating.
Right.
And if Mike catches them with one shot, is it?
It's over. It's over. If he throws them.
Talking about the fight in general, one of Roy's statements that turned out to be true was how this fight would be a monumental occasion and would be revered by boxing fans all around the world, because it is not every day that the world sees an old champion return once again to the ring.
Right.
I think it's a great fight, great marketing situation as well, because so many people want to see it because of the young lion and the old lion, no?
Yeah, and that was actually something that I was hearing fucking Jake Paul's trainer during one of the in-betweens. He kept on saying, you know, he was actually saying to Jake, he's the old lion, you're the new lion. But yeah, in a way, that's actually what it fucking was.
So it's a great situation for them, a great situation for fans, because it gives
Sandman in the locker room on
gives Jake a
shrooms.
chance with Mike being as old as he is. You feel me? So
All right.
I think it's a great opportunity for both
Hey,
fighters.
Jake,
I still think
we're like, I want to hear what Joe
probably
Rogan
a
had to
little
fucking
too
say
much.
about that, because that's what this video was called. Joe Rogan breaks silence on Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. And it's like, okay, fine. Where the fuck is that? So, like, you got all these people that are fucking talking about it. Hold on.
Allowed him to yield in front of Jake Paul, no matter how.
A kid on the Disney Channel to fight in Mike Tyson.
Tyson, who had been a part of countless noteworthy and highly publicized events like these, with his own highly awaited rematch.
Okay, you know what? I'm done. I was like, this video, okay, I'm not going to try to fast forward through all this shit to try to find a Joe Rogan thing. We do have to talk about one more thing, which, you know, as we talked about last week, we were talking about fucking politics and talking about fucking Trump winning the election and everything. And granted, I know that this is a touchy subject. I don't really give a fuck, because I actually like what's going on. Because, like, the more things that have happened since the election, whether it be the fucking, you know, whether it be like the meltdowns or whatever, it just keeps on getting better and better to me. And I personally feel like part of that has to do with the cabinet that Trump has been putting out there. And this is something that a lot of people really don't seem to understand when it concerns why Trump won. Because and I think I said this on the last episode, and I've said this to a couple of people. It's not just Trump that you were really voting for, because Trump had a fucking dream team of people, and a lot of these people he has been putting into the cabinet. And the more people that have actually been putting that he's been putting into the cabinet, the more people have been freaking out. If you watch the Shaggy show after the election, it's pretty obvious that he voted for Trump, and kids outright say it. Yeah, 'cause like I'm probably sure, like, I mean, like 4 years ago he didn't give a fuck. And Jay, you know, very much in his ways about the fucking Democrat voting because of his mom and shit like that. And I think I said this on last week's show, and I'll say it again. If you're voting for somebody just because that's who, you know, if you're voting for a party just because that's who you're used to voting for, I personally think that that's dangerous thinking when it concerns like the future of this country. Like every 4 years we shuffle through this shit. Because me personally, I start off in the middle, and I take a look at both sides of the argument, or as many arguments of the situation as I can, weigh in certain pros and cons, and I saw nothing but cons with the Democratic Party. And ever since the election, things have actually been proven correctly, and the more that this cabinet has been filled, more people are fucking bitching, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. Because first and foremost, okay, I don't Marco Rubio, I don't recognize that person. And I haven't really heard any news about that, but the first thing that I thought was really cool was Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy being members of the Department of Government Efficiency, which is a new temporary government office which is designed around the spending habits. It's basically an auditing branch to audit the government's spending for the last God knows how long. And they have already found a whole bunch of weird, fucked up shit that the government has actually been paying for. Like a lot of experimental things from in different countries, a lot of fucking research developments that really are absolutely fucking stupid and useless and a waste of goddamn money. Millions of dollars being thrown down the drain for dumb fuckery, right? And that's something that Elon and Vivek are trying to look for. On top of that, they plan on actually taking a look at certain departments and seeing whether or not they're actually worth a fuck. And I fucking dig that. And it's funny to me because there's so many fucking people who bitched about that shit. Tulsi Gabbard being the director of national intelligence. Like, I found that to be cool. Because of, you know, Tulsi having a history of being in the army and shit. She's very decorated and stuff. One thing that a lot of people really bitched about was Matt Gaetz being the Attorney General. And a lot of it was because, like, I guess when he was in the House of Representatives, there was a lot of things that he was accused of doing, like essays or some shit like that. And I found that funny because, like, just like Trump, all of those charges were dropped. And yet people will still to this day continue to fucking say shit about Matt Gaetz. But the funny thing is, like, once Matt Gaetz was announced, he immediately quit his fucking job on the house, like in the House of Representatives. Like, he quit. Because he's already prepping for becoming the Attorney General. Bobby Kennedy Jr. being the Secretary of Health. That to me is incredible, and people have actually been showing differences between the current Secretary of Health versus Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And you can clearly tell with the current Secretary of Health, he looks like shit. Turkey-necked, brown-ass teeth, nothing about the current Secretary of Health during the Biden administration. You could clearly tell that it was a DEI hire. And a lot of, as a matter of fact, a lot of the Biden-Harris administration was a lot of DEI hires. They had, with a lot of people who had no business being in the positions that they were in so far. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is actually very big on America's health because he always compares the health ratio of what it was like when JFK was in office versus how things are now. And there is a huge health crisis that's going on in this country. There's a lot of poisonous items that are in our food, and he wants to make America healthy again. And it's like, okay, gee, I wonder why, with all of the health regulations that have been brought into America's food, why is it that no other country has the same amount, the same type of foods that we do? Like, all of the stuff that's in our food is heavily fucking banned from everywhere else in America, but yet they put all of that shit in our food. And then the FBI ends up going after the Amish because they have natural fucking foods like raw milk, and that actually is helpful to a lot of other people, and they sell it to other people, and yet the FBI tried to come in, shut it down, and regulate it themselves and try to fucking tax them. No wonder why they all decided to vote for Donald Trump. One of the things, like, let's see, Trump viciously tore apart Rubio personally in the 2016 debates. Props that he put a lot of former rivals in the cabinet. Lincoln did the same thing. And this is something that a lot of people don't seem to really understand, is like, okay, you got Robert F. Kennedy, who's a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard, who's a fucking Democrat. I guess, Marco Rubio was an opponent in 2016, but they're all putting shit together. And there was also another thing that I read recently, that Bernie Sanders is actually willing to throw in his support to Donald Trump for his idea of the credit card companies having a max of 10% interest on all credit cards, because people who are getting credit cards, like I'm getting credit cards right now that are only given out like, that are given out like 35% interest. And yeah, I'm going to take them because they're giving me high amounts of money, and I can easily cut those out by, doing DoorDash and Grubhub. I can take that money and I can fucking flip it and make it so all those credit cards can get paid pretty fast. But I think that's cool for Bernie Sanders, being a socialist and independent, Democrat, kind of in that vein, like he's on the, he's on the positive for socialism. He's doing independent. He works alongside the Democratic Party in voting situations with the Senate, but now he's like giving his endorsement in a way to Donald Trump over the fucking the interest rates of credit cards. And I think right now, other than Matt Gaetz, the other person that a lot of people have been questioning is Pete Hegseth. And the reason being is because he's a commentator on Fox News, and that's really, like, literally all of the fucking other medias outside of Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, C-SPAN, and the like. That's all they fucking focus on, is the fact that Pete Hegseth was a commentator on Fox, but they all seem to ignore the fact that he is a decorated veteran. And being a decorated veteran as the Secretary of Defense, on top of that, probably because he's a good he's good at commentary, I think that it's a good thing that Pete Hegseth is in there. It's like a lot of this stuff, it's like, dude, it's the fucking WWE superstar shakeup. And on top of that, you have a bunch of other people that are being put in here that you would never think in a million years they would be willing to work with Republicans, and yet here they are working for Donald Trump and JD Vance. And the more that these things come out, the more the fucking liberal, not just the liberal media, but like the libtards who have basically been gaslit into believing everything that has been thrown their way about Donald Trump and the Republican Party and all that other shit, they're really fucking flipping out. And I find that interesting that they are flipping out in the way that they are, because it really shows a lot of these people have, like, basically a lot of low-key racism. I find it hilarious because like people who are being threatened to people are black voters, Mexican voters, they're all being threatened basically. Like there was literally one guy on TikTok who I saw said that because of his support of Donald Trump, people on the Democratic Party basically told him that they hope that he gets pulled over by a cop and there's brutal cop violence, or he gets hung from a tree or something like that. People are threatening, people are saying, well, since the Mexicans fucking voted for Trump, they hope that those people, even if they're legal, get accidentally deported. And that was another thing too. That like with Trump's latest picks, one of the other ones that I've really fucking started to enjoy seeing is the new border czar, Tom Homan. This dude is like, if you ever watch his shit, dude is ice fucking cold. And I'm serious when I say this. I think because he's a former leader of ICE, the deportation department and everything. So yeah, he was the former leader of ICE. Now he's the current border czar. I guess he was working with ICE during the Obama administration, but now he's the border czar, and he's planning on doing everything well within his power to ensure that this mandate is gonna, when it concerns like the deportation thing, is going to fucking go down as best as he can. And this dude is ice fucking cold to everybody that he fucking talks to. Literally to a point where I'm just like, we need to make this a thing where he has the Iceman as a fucking nickname. Like the Iceman, Tom Homan. And that's a double entendre because of the fact that he used to work for ICE, and he's also very fucking cold to all of these people that are interviewing him about his policies and how he's gonna fucking do the deportation shit. And then of course you also, on top of having all of these people with their fucking meltdowns, we also have another addition to the fucking meltdowns. Now instead of screaming, there's a group of liberal women who have decided to embrace Korea's 4B movement, what they do now is they basically are swearing off men. They don't talk to men. They're divorcing their husbands, breaking up with their boyfriends, shaving their heads to make themselves look fucking uglier in their means, by their own explanations. And the whole point is to detract men from them so they don't talk to men, they don't have sex with men, and all this other shit. And it's like, you do realize that you're doing them all a favor, right? You're doing everybody a favor by doing this shit, because now we don't have to worry about your whore ass having an abortion, because nobody's going to want to fuck you even if you want them to fuck you after your hair grows out. And some of my friends have been talking about this, and we seem to think that this is only going to last probably 3 weeks maximum. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that a good chunk of these women who have already shaved their heads are already regretting the decision. But now that they've committed to this, now they have to fucking be this way, even if they don't want to. Either that or can you imagine a bald chick fucking giving you head? But at the same time, they didn't really think this through, because there are a lot of women out there who are going through chemo treatment with breast cancer, or they suffer from alopecia or leukemia, and so they are all bald. And there are even little girls who are like, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they hear about this shit, and they're just like, great, now we have all these women that are shaving their heads bald and calling themselves ugly. Does that mean I'm ugly? Like that kind of shit. But I came across this video from Sky News Australia. I swear to God, Sky News Australia is just laughing it up with every dumb fuckery thing that goes on in the States.
Donald Trump's victory has caused a mass lefty meltdown.
Yes.
The latest manifestation of that has been droves of unhinged women shaving their heads and posting the footage to social media, claiming
And now this is another thing that they didn't point out too, is like a lot of people ended up pointing out in the comments of these videos that have been coming up on TikTok. Why did you just willy-nilly just shave your fucking head? Did you ever think of about the women who could use that long hair? You could have donated that shit to Locks of Love. Instead, it's going into the Puerto Rican landfill.
They are protesting the patriarchy.
Short hair we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, look, you fucked it
We're
up already.
cutting it off because you. That's why. You think I'm crazy? Me too.
Yes.
Crazy. Just like all the women before me who were
I don't think you're crazy. I think you're crazy and stupid at the same time.
crazy. So crazy. You know what? It's been a day. It's been a year. It's been 9 years, 8 years, whatever it may be. Around this time, 8 years ago, it's one of the worst times of my life. It's when my life fell apart. Not because of this.
Yeah.
I'm too excited. Just talking about regular life stuff I talk about on here. But trust me, I understand. I've heard the message loud and clear. We all have.
No, you haven't, because apparently you've lost your fucking shit, and this is just a panic thing.
Now, women are going to have to just refuse to participate. Sorry, if you're a man, I will not be responding to you. If you are a man, I will not be talking to you.
Cool, you just did me a favor, because right now I kind of choose to be single rather than hating the fact that I'm single. No, they haven't gone fully lesbian. Like, it's like it's basically become a countrywide man-hating club. So it's not like they shaved their heads and decided to go full bull dyke. You know, instead it's like they're doing this thinking that they're going to do this type of stupid shit in solidarity because they heard that it was successful in North Korea. But also at the same time, like North Korea, I believe, like, or not North Korea, maybe South Korea, but South Korea has some different rules than America does, and I don't think that they have as big a populace as the United States does. So this does nothing. Not to mention, like, even before the election, before all of the insane hubbub with the fucking election and all of this other shit, there have been a lot of dudes that have basically fucking not necessarily sworn off women or anything like that, but I'll use myself as an example because, like I said, I choose to be single. And the reason why that is because the dating market sucks ass. Okay? A vast majority of women have these ideas in their head about what's the perfect man. They're willing to fucking sell a 98% dude for a 2% dude who gives them the other 2% that they're fucking missing, but then they realize that the grass is actually greener on the other side, and by the time they figure it out, it's already too fucking late. And a lot of women play these weird, psychotic, stupid fucking games in dating. They want equal rights, but also at the same time they still expect the man to fucking do all of the man shit when it concerns the dating. Like, that's not 50%, you know? You're asking for 50%, but at the same time asking a dude to do 100% of those type of fucking details that a man's supposed to do in a relationship. No, it's 50-50 all across the block or something like that. Or it's like, what are you even fighting for? You're basically asking for 50%, but demanding 75%. You know, so you get the 70, you know, so like the man has to do the 50%, you know, plus the other 25%. I'm thinking Steiner math here at this point, you know? It's like a vast majority, it just feels like in the dating pool, there's too many fucking women out there who basically expect to be pampered on the first date, you know. A lot of these lists of restaurants that they will not accept as a first date, like the Cheesecake Factory or going to Starbucks or even fucking going for a walk on the park, is not a date to them. You know, they want a 4 or 5 star classy fucking restaurant. They dress to the fucking nines and they get disappointed, and it's like, it's just a big headache for fucking trying to jump into the dating scene. And all men really want is their fucking peace. So it's a lot easier for a man like myself to choose to be fucking single and still possibly find pussy every once in a while, but in the meanwhile, I'm just gonna sit in the basement and fucking play video games during my off time or do a live stream on YouTube. You know, like the dating pool sucks dick, and it's point, and not in the fun way. and it's just pointless. So it's like so like now that women aren't getting their way, now they're fucking saying that they're choosing to be celibate and cutting off their hair and not wearing makeup anymore and it's like, dude, everything that you're fucking doing is detrimental to the things that you're fucking fighting for. Like you're fighting for for reproductive rights, and like women are like 98% the money that's coming into makeup and fashion and shit. So basically you're taking it out on, like, you're at the end of the day, they're basically fucking taking it out on the very same causes that they're fighting for by fighting against them, and thinking that it's in regards to men. Men don't give a shit. All right? And all the good men are already married, or they have given up on dating completely. So where's the win in this situation? Instead, you just went online and you fucking hit record and you made yourself look like an idiot.
I am going to be promoting the 4B movement from here on out. I don't care. Better scissors.
Oh, you don't care.
And this woman
Here's the thing. You don't care now, but you will care later.
did the same. This woman also dramatically cut and shaved her head. Head shaving is part of the 4B movement, which protests the Trump election by creating a world without men.
Now, here's the other thing too. By shaving your head, you have basically put a target on the back of your head that basically shows, hey, I'm a psychopath. Don't even bother. Don't try to approach me. And that's going to happen until your hair is back down to your fucking shoulders, because now you've just proven that you're a psycho. By recording yourself completely shaving your head, you've made it worse for yourself, because it's like, men don't care. Men are going to see that you are a bald-headed fucking psychopath, and instead of like trying to fucking approach you, you're just going to get laughed out of the building.
It demands women abstain from sex with men as women, abstain from childbirth, abstain from marriage, abstain from romance.
Like, what is this over? That fucking meme that said, your body, my choice? Like, is that what this is in reference to? Because, like, it's really fucking contradicting. Like, the movement itself is contradicting to itself.
This person agreed, saying women who care about women's rights should join the 4B movement.
And by doing so, you're going to not be able to have an abortion.
Encourage any other women that are single, and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily autonomy.
I mean, personally, I personally fucking think, and this is me, like, personally, I think, yeah, maybe she's right. Maybe women have suffraged enough. Maybe we should do like what the Man Show suggested and try to help women end their suffrage.
To do the same. Delete your dating apps, because we can come together in community, and if you need somebody to cuddle or hold your hand or give you a kiss, I bet you one of your girlfriends would do it, okay? And you don't even have to really be gay, okay? It's okay.
I mean, well, like, we've already figured that out like 40, 50 years ago, that you don't have to be gay to kiss women. Hell, you don't even have to be gay to have sex, apparently you don't have to be a lesbian in order to have sex with another woman. Because, like, a lot of women do tend to fucking have sex with other women for the clout for some fucking reason. Like, it just weirdly makes no fucking, like, nothing makes sense. Nothing in this world makes fucking sense anymore.
To have a lot of
And nobody is able or willing to make it make sense.
platonic love for the next 4 years.
Okay,
the movement
cool.
And head shaving was mocked across the internet.
Yup.
With this woman comparing the bizarre protest to Britney Spears' mental breakdown.
You remember that?
I'm really having
I remember.
a hard time understanding why women are shaving their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Britney Spears.
Yeah, like if you guys remember, I think it was like back in 2016 or maybe even earlier than that, like Britney Spears, because of like backlash, like the fucking like backlash from the fucking paparazzi and like the fact that she wasn't able to spend her own fucking money because all of her money rights went to her parents even when she was an adult, and she was basically controlled by the fucking media in a sense, like told what she could and could not do. She went off the fucking deep end, completely fucking shaved her head, and it wasn't because of the 4B movement. She was having a fucking mental breakdown and a mental crisis, and then she attacked a car with an umbrella.
I mean, I get having a mental breakdown, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think it's funny.
Oh, I do. I think it's
You're
hilarious.
having a mental breakdown. I just honestly do not understand why you think shaving your head is the thing to do.
I mean, in a sense, I kind of get it. Like in the short term, it's basically a lot of these women that are trying to find some kind of solidarity, but at the same time, it's like you look fucking ridiculous. And if it's a collective mental breakdown because Orange Man became of the fucking president, then I guess that sucks to suck. But at the same time, it's like, you're not, like, your reasoning behind it, you're not doing yourself any fucking favors.
And this woman agreed, making
Yep.
light of her own shaved head.
Yep. Because this is what I was talking about, because this woman has cancer.
In response to all the liberals who are shaving their heads to fight the patriarchy, I just want to make it clear that I have cancer. I'm not stupid.
That's like the best fucking response ever for that. I have cancer. I'm not stupid. That woman earned my follow with this fucking video. No, I give that woman fucking props, because she's like, I have nothing to do with this 4B movement because I have cancer. That's the reason why she's bald, because she has been going through chemo treatments. So what she's basically saying is, like, because of these idiots that are shaving their fucking heads in the solidarity of the 4B movement, because she has cancer and she's lost all of her hair due to chemotherapy, she's gonna be mistaken for these fucking psychos.
This woman also made a hilarious mockery of the movement.
Okay, I'm gonna guide you through. Now, shave the head. Glasses. I don't know where you get these big glasses, but we all have them. So if you want to be one of us, you've got to find these somewhere in a store. I don't know where I got these, but everybody.
Did she, like, jam her wedding band up her nose?
He's got a deceptive piercing. Get that right away. For some reason, that unites us. The passport. Get your passport. You're gonna need it.
Right.
Plan B. Pharmacy right away. You've got to go to your pharmacy and get your Plan B. And most importantly, you cannot wear a bra ever again. Okay, then there's this. You've got to do this.
She made a chastity belt out of fucking tape. Oh, that's fucking awesome. And the passport thing, that's another thing too. There's a lot of people who are basically fucking, like, mostly it's celebrities like Jimmy Kimmel, Snoop Dogg for the second time, and a whole bunch of other handfuls of fucking celebrities that basically said that if Trump did become president of the United States, and they were going to leave America. We've heard it before, Snoop, and you never fucking did it. I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to find weed as good as you've got it in the States here. So even if he does leave, he'll fucking come back. And just like the rest of them. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, like, all of this is just a bunch of collective psychosis just because it's a bunch of people who didn't get what the fuck they wanted. Like, if Kamala Harris ended up fucking winning the election, yeah, I would have probably bitched about it, but I wouldn't have gone off the fucking deep end and shaved my fucking head. I wouldn't have threatened to fucking leave the country. I wouldn't have gone on TikTok and screamed my fucking head off. What I would have done is I would have been like, oh, that sucks. The next 4 years are probably going to suck. I hope for the best. And I go back to work. But also at the same time, it was like, it was very clear when it comes to find out that fucking Donald Trump was able to spend 320 million out of 350 million dollars of the money that he was donated to run his campaign for 2 years. It took him 2 years to spend a couple $100 million, right, for his campaign. And Kamala Harris was able to obtain $1 billion fucking dollars, and in 90 days, she's $20 million in debt. That right there, in and of itself, should really prove that she was in no condition whatsoever to be able to run this fucking country and bring it into prosperity. She would have run this country into the fucking ground with a lot of like over-absorbent fucking spending. She would have hemorrhaged this country. And most of that money would have ended up going to Ukraine. And speaking of Ukraine, I guess while Biden and Harris are still in office right now, I guess now they're given the green light for Ukrainians to fucking go into Russia and attack the country. Bad fucking idea. You're like, I'm hoping that Ukraine is smart enough to be like, no, fuck that shit and not do it, because if they do it, that's going to be the end of Ukraine. You know, it's going to be insane. And yes, let's see, where was it that I said? Bizarre 17 said we have strayed a long way from the juggalotium. First off, I hate that word. That phrase juggalotium it just gives me the ick. Secondly, you know, like, I've been saying this, like, I have wanted to do something other than just juggalo shit. I am a juggalo and I will always be one, but we have a lot of other things that we have able to talk about rather than just putting ourselves into a fucking mold and being able to like wish ourselves luck on, you know, possibly reaching that glass ceiling. You know, there's more that we have capable to fucking talk about. You know, if it's juggalo this, that, and the other 24 hours a day, then, you know, that really just, to me, that just, I'm starting to feel like that shows a lack of intelligence. Even though half the shit that I fucking talk about politically is pretty much just coming out of my own ass, it's just stuff that makes sense to me. On the other hand, that's funny. You know, the political backlash of the American public. John Q. Public is really showing its face, and it's retarded. Like, absolutely retarded. And not the good, and not in the fun autistic way, you know. It's like fucking Cyrax levels of Down syndrome retarded. This country has fucking turned into.
You've got to tape that baby up. You got to tape it up.
Yeah.
I will just tell you, the blue bracelet. Don't forget the blue bracelet.
Oh yeah, that's another thing you got to look out for. Not just the bald head, but also, yeah, not just the bald head, but the blue bracelet. So if you see a bald head and no blue bracelet, they just have cancer. You know, but if you see the bald head and the blue bracelet and, you know, them yelling to look for the, you know, to ask for the fucking manager, then it's definitely a 4B crazy chick.
Don't forget the blue bracelet so we know who we are. Okay. I don't know where to get these glasses. We all have them, and I can't tell you where to get them. I don't know. But I'm going to get some duct tape. I don't have any duct tape right now. I only had the packing tape, but I'm getting the duct tape.
Despite the very loud voices of the 4B movement, it seems to be very much on the fringes, with Sky News host Peter Credlin revealing women did not blindly vote for Kamala Harris as the leftist media would have us believe.
I was particularly critical tonight of the female commentators.
Yeah, because, you know, God forbid a woman actually has their support for Donald Trump, right? If you have a vagina, you must fucking vote for Kamala Harris, otherwise the patriarchy wins. No. like it's just like that. There was like this woman I saw. There was like this one woman I saw where she literally thought Kamala Harris was going to fucking win because in her mind she thought that all women were going to fucking vote for Kamala Harris. And, you know, of course you have your fucking allies, everybody, you know, that was the problem that I think the Democratic Party seems to have is like they all thought that if they fucking talked about women's rights issues and, you know, abortion and shit like that, they were going to get all the fucking votes. And they already automatically assumed that they had every single minority vote and the LGBTQ vote. So like there's more than that than every straight white male who isn't a Democrat. You know, so they thought it was going to be a fucking shoo-in. No, motherfucker. Like, literally everybody's broke. You can't get a goddamn house. The country is in disarray. There are many cities all across this country that are fucking dilapidated as fuck. Homelessness is on the rise. Can't fucking buy eggs without getting into a goddamn fist fight or toilet paper. You know, women are fucking shaving their heads. You know, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, you know, and a giant 100-foot marshmallow man destroying a church in downtown New York. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, makes you think that Kamala Harris, with her exorbitant amount of spending on her campaign, she blew through $1.2 billion in 90 days. Trump went through $3 million plus on a $350 million budget in 2 years. Like, in comparison, Donald Trump, one of the richest, like a billionaire, and somehow was able to stretch out, in comparison, a shoestring budget and won the presidency of the United States of America over somebody who had $1 billion fucking dollars in spending. What did she spend it on? Megan Thee Stallion's ass twerking on stage. That was one thing. Like, what, $20 fucking million to have Beyonce do a 3-minute speech. A $1.8 million endorsement paying out to Eminem. $5 million for fucking Cardi B. $1 million going to Oprah Winfrey. $10 million going to somebody else. Like, millions of dollars being drained from this fucking budget for celebrity endorsements that nobody really in their right mind would actually give a fucking fuck about. And you expected that to win? And now because they didn't, everybody on that side is having an absolute fucking meltdown. And their only line of defense is, well, at least we didn't storm the Capitol. Yet. Instead, during COVID, you were having a combination of peaceful protests while setting cities on fire. And since we're at the 3-hour mark, I might as well start closing this out. But I'm going to say this, like, they had their fucking meltdown in 2016, and they bragged about the shit from 2020 to 2024 about having Democratic power in the Oval Office. And at the same time, they were still fucking talking about Donald Trump, even though he had been out of the public eye for those 4 years. Right? Now we have Donald Trump in here again. There is a clear-cut case of Trump derangement syndrome going on in this country. You know what I'm saying? All of these people are out of their fucking minds because they've been gaslit by the mainstream legacy media, being told over and over and over and over and over again how bad Trump is. And the ironic thing is that while the Democrats have been saying for the last 8 years how much Trump is comparable to fucking Adolf Hitler, they're also basically admitting that if you lie your ass off over and over again, evidently the fucking lie becomes a truth in the minds of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny as hell to me because that's something that was said by Stalin, Hitler, Castro, and a lot of other socialist violent fucking leaders. And it's funny because in this and they're saying that shit, and on the other side they're basically saying that Donald Trump is Hitler. And Donald Trump, while he may stretch the truth a little bit here and there, he might go to like a little bit of extremes on the things that he fucking says, like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets, in Springfield, Ohio. But like, it's not too far from the actual truth. They are eating animals, like the Haitians that were fucking ported over there were basically eating animals that should not be fucking eating. And yeah, you're right. Trump is not fucking Hitler. But the thing though is like they fucking said it so much that a lot of people have been gaslit into fucking believing this shit. Everybody on that side that's freaking out over Trump winning again has absolute Stockholm syndrome pretty much, or something like that. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it is that they have, but it's like it's almost like having been in a relationship with an abusive narcissist. You know what I'm saying? So like my question is that we've got 4 years of Trump and he's going to be gone in 2028, right? And with the 12-year tap on Trump derangement syndrome, when Donald Trump is finally done with his second term and he's not able to fucking come back, right? However, a lot of the stuff that he jokingly says, like saying something about going for a third term, and the libtards fucking lost their shit. When it's like, obviously he knows that he can't fucking do that. This is his second term. Presidents are only allowed to have 2 terms. The only exceptions have been like at the beginning of this country with the presidencies, like they've had like 3 terms and shit. I believe FDR had 4 terms, but that was because we were in the middle of the Second World War. And it's like, when Trump is finally done with his second term, let me ask you this. What's next? Nobody's going to know what to fucking do because they can't fucking talk shit about Trump. Because Trump will be gone. They'll be happy as hell that Trump is gone, but then after that, it's like they don't know what to fucking do. And the reason why I say this is because, like, I've had similar situations like that in the past where it's like, you talk so much shit about fucking drama that you can't really get yourself out of it, and then when it finally fucking stops and it ends, it's like, well, now what do I do as a content creator? I spent a good number of years talking shit about so many fucking people that it's like, once it's done, it's like, what do you do now? Now you basically have to find somebody else to talk shit about. And it's like, and then eventually you're like, I don't want to talk shit about people anymore, but I don't know what to fucking do because that's all I've known. And for the last 8 years, that's all people have really known is, on the Democratic side of things, is talking shit about Trump. And there's been some people that have actually opened up their eyes and woken the fuck up to what the hell they were doing, and they've stopped, and good for them that they were able to fucking get out of it during the Biden-Harris administration to realize that the grass was actually greener on the other side. And yeah, you're right. It turns into an obsession to a point where that's all they can fucking do. Like, they fucking wake up from night terrors talking about Donald Trump. Kamala Harris in the same issue, where like they would ask her, what you going to be doing about the economy, Kamala? Well, Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. Harry Sisson on TikTok is another prime example as a social media influencer on TikTok, but almost every single one of his videos starts with him talking about Donald Trump. Even though the DOJ check, even though the fucking pallet media checks are not coming in anymore, because he was getting paid by pallet media to fucking talk shit about Donald Trump and to fucking big up Joe Biden until Joe Biden wasn't running anymore, and then he was getting paid to fucking big up Kamala Harris. But every single one of his videos starts with him talking shit about Donald Trump and trying to downplay the decisions that he makes as a fucking leader, as if this 20-something year old kid knows more about American politics than Donald Trump. Although he's not in any fucking form of government officiating, and he just thinks that he's smart because he's going to law school. Motherfucker's an idiot. And he has absolutely no idea how damaging he is, how damaging the things that he says is doing to other people, and how damaging things that he says are to his subconscious. To be totally honest, like if you hate Donald Trump and you can't even remember why you hate Donald Trump, you just believe that you're supposed to hate Donald Trump, you have a scarred subconscious. You have scarred subconscious thinking, and that's something that you really need to fucking snap out of, because after Trump is done, you're not going to know what to do. And everything for the next 20 years after that, if you continue to talk about Donald Trump and talking shit and blaming him for everything that he has nothing to do with what it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention being able to say your president sold the stunner better than Goldberg is pretty badass. Dude, okay, Wes, I got a question for you. This might be a good one for you. Who do you think sold the stunner better? Donald Trump or Violent J? Because both of them sold it pretty shitty. There's the $1 million question, I think. Who sold the stunner better, Donald Trump or Violent J? But yeah, I think that's done. That's good. I'm done. I think Jay wasn't bad considering he wasn't expecting it. I think he sold the stunner a lot better than Donald Trump did. But he also has more fucking professional business in the wrestling ring than Donald Trump did. But yeah, I'd say that's it for me. It's 12:12 my time. I'm going to get up out of here. Just remember, if you are already sitting here talking shit about Donald Trump, it might be a good idea to stop with that thinking, because if you continue to do it, then you're just going to fucking... And I would say also, before I go...
This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House with Crazy McCormick.
You're goddamn right. So with that being said, I am Crazy McCormick. That was Doug Walker from the Nostalgia Critic. Once again, I got to give shout outs to Doug Walker for hooking me up with that. And with that being said, I'm out this bitch. I'll see you guys next week. We'll talk some more about some other shit. Deuces, yo.